Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day one of the Star Series finals. My name is Rich, and we are live in Kiev. We have our top 8 players from all around the world. It was a long path to get here, but there are $30,000 on the line today, and we are going to be taking a look at the players from Group A. So that's going to be Stan Cifka, Zalay, PF. Then we can already hear them because we are on the floor with the players, and we're going to be here all weekend long, actually getting to ask them questions. I forgot to mention Naiman is also here today, but to get some more insight onto the players and the matchups that we are going to see today, I'm going to toss it up to our casters. We got Firebat and Lothar.
Well, hello there. Hey, Firebat, how you doing, man?
Doing good, how are you?
I'm great, and to be honest, StarLadder is putting a lot of effort into this tournament. It's pretty sweet. We are sitting in Ukraine, in Kiev, in a Mosky bar, how do you even say that?
I don't know what it's called, but it's pretty fantastic. We got really cool decorations all around, lots of cool people here, great atmosphere. Couldn't be a better place to play Hearthstone.
It's like kind of like 2015 again, right? With those small tournaments, like
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Those are my favorite tournaments. 2015 was a good year for me. So
Exactly.
I'm back. This is my element, man. This is what I like.
So we have 8 players
Right.
during those finals. And we have 3 regions to be represented, right? Because
Yeah.
we have Europe, we have 1 player from NA, your
That's all it
colleague,
needs. All we
right?
need is one NA player to take it home, so it's cool.
And
then
you know the guy pretty well, right?
Yeah, it's Zalay. And then we have China, too. And it's always really cool to see tournaments that have a bunch of regions clash, so we can always say NA is #1, of course.
All right. Well, you can see the graphic. This is the Group A. We are playing GSL groups. So
Okay.
basically, kind of like double eliminations. So we have Naiman versus PF. It's not OMPF or OMPF,
Right.
as you would say.
We thought it was going to be, and we were scared trying
Yeah,
to figure
so
out how to pronounce it. But yeah, that's just his team. He's part of Team OM, and his name is PF.
Exactly. And then the other group, the other pair is Stanislav Cifka and Zalay, so your colleague from North America. And basically, how does it work is that the winners are playing against each other. Then the winner from that match advances, and we have also losers match that comes into a elimination match basically.
Right.
So 2 players are advancing from each group.
Yeah, you got to win 2 games. If you win 2 games, you're through. It's easy as that.
Exactly.
But none of these players here are going to be giving off a loss easily. So you really have to earn those wins. So just going into the first matchup here, we have PF up against Naiman. What do you think about these 2 players?
Well, first of all, Naiman had an amazing group stage when we were playing the qualifiers, and he actually went 6-1. He was one of the players that had an aggro lineup, and that was the good call, because the players were preparing their lineups in the beginning of the metagame. It was like 9th of May or something like that for the deadline for the lineups. So not every single player was like, I think, in tune what to do at the beginning. So players that did choose to play aggro had an advantage over other players.
Right. We have RDU, Naiman, and Zalay, I think, all brought the all anti-aggro lineup, and they all advanced out of that group stage, which was a round-robin group stage.
Yeah.
So a lot of games played there, and they were able to make it to here.
Yep, exactly. And PF, well, we don't have a lot of information yet about him, but I really hope that we will get to know him better.
The dark horse.
Yes,
coming into the tournament.
To be honest, I spoke with Naiman a little bit before the tournament, and he did scout as much as possible PF,
Sure.
and he's actually a very good player. He was.
I mean, he's here, right? So it's
yeah.
got to be pretty good.
But there are small things that you can just say that he is actually a good player, right? Like bluffing, taking the time to take the turns, even though they have only one option. So he actually said that he's a formidable opponent. But we can actually now see a short interview with Naiman.
Yeah, so we have Naiman on the floor here. Sorry, we were chatting before they even threw down to the interview, but Lothar was talking about how great you actually did perform in groups. So I want to ask you about that just a little bit. Came out 6-1 to qualify here today. What enabled you to do that in the group stages of play?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Probably being in aggro. It's the thing which allowed.
Yeah. So, like you said, bringing aggro was very important, but now that we had a chance to actually switch up decks at this point, and you moved away from that path quite a bit, what was the thought process behind it after aggro enabled you to actually qualify?
Before the matches, I already knew that I'm going to be playing in the group with Cifka, Zalay, and with OMPF. So I knew that the first match is going to be against OMPF, and I thought that he's going to be playing aggro, but I failed. I also thought that StarSeries is going to be playing anti-control, anti-aggro. I failed again. And I didn't really care about the lane because I thought I'm going to be playing against StarSeries and OMPF. But oh well, hopefully it's going to go well and I'm going to get lucky.
Yeah, so you mentioned, you brought up the word fail twice there. We were talking before the tournament even started today, before the broadcast actually started. And you said that PF, you feel the worst situated going into this match, and that's your first match of the day. So how do you, what's going through your mind right now? I mean, you straight up said it's probably one of your worst matches in this group.
Well, I'm going to be playing Freeze Mage. I really love Freeze Mage. It's my favorite archetype. And really hope that Freeze Mage is not going to fail me. Like, this is going to fail 3 times. Oh, wait, it's not going to be 3. 4 times. Then it's going to be really, I'm going to feel bad. I'm just going to come up to Hippie and just tell him that Freeze Mage obviously sucks.
Yeah, so you're putting a lot on that list, obviously, but what else in that lineup is making you scared when you're actually going into this match against PF? What is it about his lineup that you're scared about?
I'm not really scared about, like, what I'm scared of. Yeah, probably... like, the interesting fact is that he's not playing weapons in his warrior, so I'm not kind of scared about it. It just kind of makes me funny. And yeah, I can just say this one. Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, thank you so much, and we're going to have to see if he can do it on the Freeze Mage, but I'm going to send it back up to Firebat and Lothar.
All right, we're back. So, good point, actually. We are playing best of 7s here.
Right.
So that makes a little bit of difference, although it's still Conquest.
It's Conquest, and best of 7s makes it a lot harder to actually target in Conquest because your opponent's bringing a wider variety of decks, but so are you. So they're more likely to have the archetype that you're trying to target, but less likely for you to be able to target it with all of your decks efficiently.
So queuing actually matters in best of 7, right? When it comes to the classes that you pick, or you don't think so?
I don't think queue order really matters in Conquest. It's more just about the lineup construction and trying to figure out an angle with your lineup. And Naiman spoke briefly how his angle with his is he's targeting aggro. He said, you know what, aggro is super popular in the qualifier. It did really well, so I'm going to shut all of that down. And PF, not playing any aggro. He has Jade Druid, Taunt Warrior, Quest Rogue. These are archetypes that almost always win against anti-aggro control. So it's going to be really tough for Naiman to make it out of it. There are some interesting card choices, though, in PF's lineup that could hurt him.
I mean, we spoke before on the tournament that there's a very interesting choice in PF's Warrior deck because he is not playing a Fear War Axe at all.
Yeah,
like, completely.
That's a pretty crazy card to cut.
Yeah, it's one of the best cards in the game when you think about it, right?
I think so, yeah.
It has so many different uses. It can be played as a tempo, played just on turn 2, even when you have no attacks, basically. You can save it for turn 5, 6, or whatever, and you can have it always as a defensive measure against aggro. It can be a good measure to just kill a totem from Shaman that is like, mana-type totem or something like that.
Push for damage for lethal at the end of the game, all sorts of stuff. But, yeah, the reason why I think he cut that card and some of the other tech choices that he has, like he has Hungry Crab in his Jade Druid and he has Backstab in his Quest Rogue, is because he's taking archetypes that normally already beat control, and then he's trying to, I mean, that already beat aggro, sorry, misspoke. Archetypes that already beat aggro for the most part and teching them towards beating control a little bit more. So he's got the Taunt Warrior, which already beats aggro, and so he's like, all right, I'm going to cut the War Axes so then it beats control too, more often than not. He adds the taunts into it. And then the opposite with the Quest Rogue and Jade Druid, where he takes out a little bit to make it more well-rounded. So he's trying to just not focus his decks as much.
Yeah, it might be actually a really good choice here for this tournament, right? Where
for the tournament in general, yeah.
Yeah, people, what I actually see in the deck list is so far that they really like to experiment and bring some lineups that they don't usually use. And that's something that will be... that's something that I think will make this tournament really interesting to watch, especially that we have a small group of players, but with a lot of decks.
Oh yeah, small group tournaments are really cool like that because you get to predict the meta a lot more accurately. You know exactly who you're going to play against. You know, you're going into it, PF is like, all right, I'm playing Naiman round 1. Now let's study for a month, figure out how to beat him. It's like training for a boxing match, you know, where you have to go, you know, you'd study tapes and you figure out all of their strats and then come back with your own different way to beat him.
Yep. And we're gonna start. I saw the ban. I think Rogue from PF was banned, which makes sense because that's the most oppressive deck against control decks.
It is really hard to beat Quest Rogue with a control deck. I don't know if you've played ladder before, but it is impossible. They're just, unless you have an aggressive deck, you cannot beat the Quest Rogue. So Naiman's kind of forced to have to ban that out. And we get into game 1 here. It's going to be the Jade Druid from PF. That's kind of like his other deck in the lineup that just gets a free win versus almost all of Naiman's decks. So I imagine he knew that that would be what he is facing against, and he chooses to try and sneak a win with the Paladin against it, which can tempo it out with Death Rattles and N'Zoth.
Exactly, and there's one reset button in the entire deck, right, which other decks are lacking. Well, maybe Freeze Mage with Frost Nova and Doomsayer, right? But other than that, Paladin has like an instant way of making a reset, which is the Equality and Consecration, and that's something I think like you need to make that tempo swing at some point of the game if you want to seal the deal with N'Zoth. So most likely it's a turn before N'Zoth.
You go like Equality, Consecrate, and then play a Doomsayer right before you play N'Zoth. The Jade Druid can't develop into it, and then you get a slam down N'Zoth.
Exactly.
Oh no, it's yeah. Naiman doesn't have Jade Druid, right?
Yes.
I think he does. So the overlay is just a little bit switched with the.
There's no Druid in Naiman's lineup.
Yeah, there's no Druid in Naiman's lineup. So
I was confused for a second.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Naiman's the Paladin, so the cameras are just a little bit rotated.
All right.
So
it's the first match. It's fine. So we're gonna just bear in mind we're gonna talk about the fact that Naiman is playing Paladin.
Yeah.
And look at this. This is something really interesting. Like turn 2, you spend some time thinking about what you can do because your hand just sucks, and you don't want to give that information out to your opponent.
No. But this is going to be a tough Jade Druid hand to beat. Jade Idol actually is one of the highest win rate cards when played on one. Or one of the highest win rate cards when played in general in Jade Druid. Just because of ramping the Jades, it's so powerful. It does it so efficiently.
When you think about it, just ramping a Jade Golem from 4 to 5 makes it immune to Truce of a Champion, and that's a huge swing when you can just have one Golem that sticks around.
It's pretty crazy. Naiman has the ability here to either hero power or play out a Tempo Aldor Peacekeeper. He can't really capitalize on the tempo of the Aldor Peacekeeper, so I'd like to see him just hero power. He doesn't have a turn 4 play, so he's just going to be hero powering next turn unless he top decks. So I think you can't really afford to just try and fight for the board yet. I think he's already has to start waiting and building towards a reset.
The problem is that even if he plays the Peacekeeper, what does it do against turn 4 from his opponent? Like most likely turn 4 will be Jade Spirit, and that means his opponent will have a 3/3 minion on board. So if you just trade with a 1/2 or a 2/3, then
not good.
It's gonna be dead for the hero power next turn, right? And the Jade Druid will still have mana to develop something on the board. So it's not really something that you can capitalize on, as I said.
Yeah, now he has to hero power and take a pretty crummy trade either way. I guess you trade the 1/2 in hopes that you can get the trade with the 2/3 the turn after, or force your opponent to do something. You don't really need to preserve life total yet, so you definitely want to take a value trade, I'd say. But yeah, the Aldor Peacekeeper is such a powerful resource in the late game because eventually, once everything gets kind of traded down, you use both your equalities to clear the board, a lot of times you get to situations where the Jade Druid can only play one Jade card at a time.
Because he misses Nourish, an example,
right? Yeah. And then once they're only playing one Jade card at a time, that's when the Aldor Peacekeeper can really seal the deal. So I really hate tempoing that out.
It would make sense if you would have a turn 4 play.
If he had True Silver in his hand, maybe. Yeah, something like that he can continue pressuring with. But I guess, you know what, he's probably in the mindset where he feels the late game's never coming. I guess I'm just going to try and stabilize now, and maybe I top deck True Silver and get there.
Well, that might be one of the, outs.
Right,
basically.
yeah.
I'm going to get that True Silver champion on the river.
Exactly. It's sometimes that's what you got to play to in a bad matchup like this.
All right, well, PF has a turn 5. Unfortunately, we can't really say if he has Nourish or not. That'll be like a crazy turn for Nourish, especially if he has an 8-drop in his hand. So there's so many possibilities in the Jade Druid, or actually in any Druid, because you can't play around specific cards when you know that your opponent has a way of cheating out the mana.
Yeah.
Like there's one Innervate, and suddenly everything is possible. He can play Fandral with Feral Rage. He can play Fandral Wrath into, well, whatever else is there, right? So a lot of options.
But no Innervate comes out this turn. He's just cleaning up the board a little bit, setting up for a clear board for turn 6. Turn 6 is the most populated mana slot for Druid minions with Aya and Jade Behemoth, as well as like the Innervate plays available for the 8s. So
it's also very important for PF to just keep the board clean because of the fact that Paladins just got a 6 mana card that benefits from board control. Usually, we're just kind of like, I don't really care about 1/1s on the board, since I can get value out of the 1/1s with a swipe later on when they pile on, and there will be a tempo swing. But when your opponent has access to Spiker Steed, that is something that you need to actually sacrifice a lot of power into it, because that's at least 13 HP that you need to go through to get to auto minions first. So it's very important for PF to just get that off the board. Anything that sticks needs to be killed before turn 6. Later on, it's not that important, but on the turn 6, it's super crucial.
Yeah, it shuts off both Spike Ridge Steeds and the Sunkeeper Terran from Naiman's hand, so he's not going to be tearing him a new one anytime soon. He's just got no act. He might even just have to play Sunkeeper Terran here for tempo. He has a really strong curve supporting it, right? So
yeah.
It's one of the most powerful cards in the deck, and oftentimes you want to play it when you have minions in play, but he might be forced into a situation where he wants to just Sunkeeper Terran, then Curator, then Tyrion. Like, that's not a bad curve.
Definitely not. It's a very similar situation to the turn 3 Peacekeeper.
Right, yeah. And so, you know, last time he tempoed out the Peacekeeper, so I imagine he's going to stay true to his guns and tempo out the Terran, and he's just going to follow through with that line.
All right, well, Terran goes down. And for PF, that's like, well, it had to be played at some point of the game. So it's good that it's already off, because I know that now I'll have a free way of doing whatever I want with the entire board. I can go wide, I can overextend, and will not be punished by a Tarim at least, but it's still equality.
The qualities, yeah, he's got to definitely watch out for those still. But yeah, one of the big problems that his deck has to deal with, out of the way with Tarim being gone. Naiman does not have too many great options. It's either Hero Power Kodo or the Curator.
Well, what does the Kodo do? Kills the second Jade Spirit?
Yeah, there's not too many Kodo targets in the deck for PF, so for sure the Kodo does not get too much value, but Hero Power Kodo is a 4/6, and Curator is a 4/6 that draws you cards. So might as well play a 4/6 that draws you cards, right?
Yeah. Definitely agree. Especially that you want to get that card draw as soon as possible, since you can actually get them drawn naturally. And that makes the Curator less powerful in this case. And Hydrologist might be one of those key cards as well here to help with the board. Like
yeah, one of the things Hydrologist can do is you can get Redemption on a Tyrion, which is absolutely insane. Not only do you get the 2 Tyrions immediately, then N'Zoth brings back multiple Tyrions. So you can really use Hydrologist to charge up your N'Zoth to do crazy busted stuff if you have enough time.
And I would say that in this situation actually there's some time for Naiman.
Yeah, Naiman has plenty of time. There's not too much going on here for PF.
Look at that, that's the target that is sticking to the board. So now Naiman has multiple options. He can either play the Tyrion, as you said, but at the same time, he knows that he can also play the Hydrologist and the Spike Ridge Steed this turn, see what secret he gets, and then adjust the game plan accordingly to that.
Right. That seems pretty powerful. Whenever you can land a Spike Ridge Steed, it's usually the correct thing to do so, because Druid has no hard single target removal. So if
not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. They don't have mulch anymore. So then if the minion sticks again for the next turn, then you can play another Spike Ridge Steed on it, and it's just this massive minion that your opponent has to trade everything into.
Other than that, it's Primordial Drake, which doesn't really do much. Like, it doesn't help with the board immediately. So Hydrologist, like, I would say Hydrologist seems to be the best choice.
Those are the 3 secrets you don't want to see. You want either Getaway Kodo or Redemption. But
Repentance is not terrible.
Well, the problem is it doesn't hit the Jade Golems.
Yeah, but it hits Behemoth, an example, right?
Sure, and Primordial Drake, but it's definitely not ideal.
Well, in this situation,
the Drake can come down, get the full clear, get rid of that giant health pool of a minion. You don't want big health minions sticking around because they threaten to get buffed again by the Paladin, and that's when they start really getting out of control.
Although I have to say, the Repentance can be still played as a bluff.
Okay.
Turn 8 Tyrion into Secret, and your opponent is like, oh man, now I need to sacrifice a Rav to kill a Hydrologist to get that redemption on that guy instead.
Right. They can't just kill the Tyrion right away. So Naiman was thinking about that. He picked up the Repentance, ended up putting it down, though. So he definitely knows he has that bluff value. He's just trying to evaluate if it's the right thing to do here.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it goes.
He's going to be bluffing out this Tyrion.
So in this case, PF would like to kill this Dagadon first.
Yeah. And he figured out the secret.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah. This is when Jade Druid starts getting really crazy. When they can just cycle this many cards. They can find the synergies that allow them to just infinitely play Jade Golems.
He needs one Innervate, basically, to go completely off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could Wrath for 1 here in the Tyrion bubble. 2 draws to try and find an Innervate. He hasn't played an Innervate this game, right?
Yeah.
So he's got pretty good odds of finding one. Judging by deck size, I'd say it's like
14, 13?
Yeah, 13, 14, somewhere in that range. So 2 outs, 2 draws. He's going to go for it. Nourish is a good pickup still. You can start thinning your deck to set up for the second Gadgetzin to go infinite.
Okay, Feral Rage. So no Innervate, but it's still a great turn for PF. Like, he did draw 4 cards out of the Auctioneer. Well, actually 3, but it's still a lot.
Definitely not bad.
One of the ways of Naiman getting ahead on board is actually also the Ragnaros. When he can stick a high health minion that's gonna get the health back every single turn after trading with opponent's minions,
right,
is something that you actually will benefit greatly from and might be one of the win conditions. But it's pretty hard to do it right now when you need to deal with that Auctioneer as well.
Right, you have to get that dead first. One of the things he could do is, since he has so many weapon swings, right, you look at the Ashbringer from the Tyrion on field, that's 3 weapon swings, then you're going to N'Zoth back the Tyrion, that's 3 more weapon swings. He could use Primordial Drake right now to kill off his own Tyrion and kill the Gadgetzin Auctioneer, so we can just start chucking damage at the face with that first Ashbringer and really try and put PF on a clock. I like that. Yeah, that's just so much pressure. And you have so many swings of weapons because you're going to get another Tyrion back. Now N'Zoth is live next turn, so you just slam N'Zoth next turn. This is the maximum pressure he could possibly produce. And you hate to see that, though.
But it's still not terrible.
You do get another one.
Yeah,
so.
and when you think about it, N'Zoth with 5/7 stats is nothing to scoff on as well.
Sure. Oh, now he's got the Karen, though. Now he could juice this N'Zoth up a little bit bigger.
Yeah. So if he plays Kern, the natural play with it, alongside it, is the Consecration. But does it make any sense? Because you will get a 7/7 for PF if you will kill the Aya. That's not something you want to see at all.
Right.
When you think about it, you have 7 damage that can go to the face to your opponent's turn right now. And he did use 1 Feral Rage, but that's about it. So there's still a lot of healing.
There's
a lot of healing.
Yeah.
Almost infinite.
Well, yeah, there's 2 Earthen Scales. Each are about at 7 right now because Earthen Scales kind of heals you for 1 plus whatever the current Jade count is. So there's 14 from that. The second Feral Rage, you're looking at 22 additional points of healing from PF at this time. It's going to grow as the game goes on. But Naiman says, you know what, Karen's too slow. I'm not going to be able to win the game if I try and just screw around with Karen, so let's slam this N'Zoth.
I like it.
Let's go face. Yeah.
I like it.
I think
really
you
like
got
it
to do it.
Because 1 ref was already used. And that means there's really no good way of popping that Divine Shield from PF.
Yeah, you don't want to hero power that.
Exactly.
When your opponent's trying to smork you down, the last thing you want to do is just face tank 6 for fun.
And that means you need to sacrifice at least a minion.
Right.
So pretty good play by Naiman. And when you think about it, it makes so much sense with the way he was playing the entire game.
Right.
Peacekeeper on 3, Tyrant on 6, when he didn't have a good setup.
Yeah.
So he knows from the beginning that he is on a disadvantage, and
Yep.
he just needs to close the game as soon as possible.
Makes sense. Adjusts the game to the matchup and goes all face all the time. Plays for max tempo. But PF here, I don't think he has time to do a gadget development turn. So I would like to see him try and go for Fandral Nourish. He's running out of time. But Fandral Nourish allows you to have a little bit of spare mana for some options. You could try and... ooh, the innervates.
Oh!
Now
Okay.
he's got all the options in the world.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the time.
Right.
When you think about it, that would be a really nutty turn with the gadget turn. But
Yeah.
still, there are more important things right now to be happening in the game.
I mean, it's going to be a nutty turn next turn. He's also added 3 Jade Idols into his deck. So he has 3 additional Jade Idols to draw. Did play one on turn 1.
Interesting that he didn't sacrifice the Aya.
Yeah, he's trying to... It doesn't even hedge his bets too much around like an equality clear, right? Because the Aya can just get popped off so easily anyway. It is a bit interesting. Because he would have just bigger minions in play. But he's definitely worried about some sort of AoE happening. Wants to try and make sure the Aya has to get traded into to activate AoE.
And now again, Naiman has a situation where he needs to kill at least 1 minion from his opponent's side, which will be Fandral. You don't want to leave that around.
Well,
right?
you could kind of get away with it.
Well,
Depends how dead they are. Like, how much damage can you produce ignoring it, right? Because Fandral doesn't draw new cards. Fandral, with Nourish, it kind of does. But I think it's very reasonable to get away with ignoring this Fandral.
okay.
I think if you could maybe just, like, Spike Ridge Steed, Aldor Peacekeeper, the 7/7, push all face. He's going to go with the Kodo here instead of a Spike Ridge Steed. And then you can squeeze out the Wild Pyromancer, sure. It's just as many stats. But he is going to be taking out that Fandral. He fears it. So you're right there. I don't know. I think you can definitely get away. You can make a point to ignore that Fandral because you're pushing so much damage. They've already used 1 Nourish. They've already used 1 Wrath. They've already used both Feral Rages. So there's 2 cards left. There's 1 Nourish, 2nd Wrath. They work
Well,
with Fandral.
Jade Idols are
Jade
still
Idols,
there,
sure.
right?
Yeah. Gadget into Jade Idols is crazy.
Exactly. So
But that pollutes his deck from finding the healing. So maybe that's not bad.
that is another good point.
So I don't know. I think that's a questionable one.
It has a lot of, like, you need to require a lot of context
Right.
to make that play like a correct assumption.
Sure.
So both ways are like, I would say correct decisions. It just
One is
it's
more
different.
correct by like 2%.
Yeah. You can get punished by not clearing the Fandral.
You can definitely get punished. There's a % chance that you do. He's waiting a turn for the gadget, just taking this time to clear. PF feels he's under so much pressure. He just needs to stabilize the board. Once the board's stabilized, he can create a Jade Idol, which he then can Earthen Scales and just heal all of his life back.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the end for Naiman at this point. He's falling very far behind.
Okay, so his opponent is at 13. You don't know if your opponent has any more healing in his hand right now, especially with only 4 cards left.
Right.
So if you want to play your Spike Ridge Steed, you can push for 5 damage to the face. Your opponent will be at 8, and you can theoretically set up a lethal play next turn. Or you can just go for... No, you can't go for the Rag, because the Rag just dies at the Jade Golem.
Yeah, the Rag doesn't push anything. Karen threatens to push 4 next turn because your opponent can't trade into it easily. So I wouldn't hate to see that, because then you definitely get a body for the Spike Ridge Steed too, with the Bane sticking around.
You need to take into account that you're actually getting close to death as well.
Right. But there's not very much burst left. We've seen 1 swipe, 2 Feral Rages, so the max PF can do in 1 turn is like 6, or I guess 7 from hand with Earthen Scales, swipe hero power.
I like that the Forbidding Healing can be also used to minimize the effect, the randomized effect from Ragnaros.
Right.
You can use it on a smaller minion, just for like one mana or something, to make it unavailable to heal by Rag.
Can be a factor in a lot of games. This is going to be brutal. This is PF is going to have so much health, he's going to be able to just ignore the board and punch Naiman in the face. Yeah.
Where's the equality when you need it? I mean, Naiman is like 11 cards, 12 cards. That's like 12 cards left in his deck, I would say. So, and there's still 2 equalities there.
Yeah. And this is the last Jade Idol from PF, right?
I have to be
He played
blunt.
1 on turn 1.
Didn't actually count.
He played 1 on turn 1. He shuffled 1 in with a little bit earlier on in the game with the Fandral, and then just recently drew this one. Oh nope, that's the last one for sure though. Nope, that's the last one. He didn't draw another one. That's good.
Okay.
But yeah, look at that health total. Just Jade Druid does these easy stuff.
There's the quality.
Okay.
That was the turn when
he needed it. Yeah. If he didn't get it there, it was all over. So now Naiman can push for 10 on board, and the problem is he can't really develop anything behind this, though.
Now a Peacekeeper would be fine.
Now a Peacekeeper would be fine, yeah. But I don't know. He just needs... he can only hero power behind this. Is there any way he can get away with not using the equality?
No, I don't think so. Like, he's just dead.
But you want to save a swing turn for when you can develop behind it. So if he tries to trade with the Karen into, like, the gadget, maybe, and then... can he heal out of it? No, it's just... It's too much damage. He has to do it. So 4 mana, and he's just going to have to hero power.
And unfortunately, he already played in Zolf.
Right.
So there's no way of making, you know, another Karen. And... Oh, look at that.
Another Jade Idol.
I think we missed something.
How many times did he shuffle? I guess he played a many with Fendril. That one's the last one, though.
You sure of that?
No, no. How could I possibly be sure? If I was wrong the last 10 times...
He probably, you know, had something in his sleeve.
Primordial Drake here, it stops.
It's not even important to shuffle them back, to be honest.
Well, I mean, he's just setting up so much damage. Doomsayer doesn't save him. Spikeridge Steed could put a huge taunt in the way. He just... If he had any way to get through this 4-8...
Yeah, he needed a
silence or
needed a
Elder
Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's not looking good. Is there a way he even lives next turn? Let's say he plays Ragnaros, he heals to 25.
Well, Ragnaros... Spikeridge Steed's a little bit more healing than Ragnaros.
But he needs that Spikeridge Steed to push for damage anyway. So
yeah, that's true. He needs the buff from it to beat the hero power from PF. So he does need... PF's going to hero power to 10 next turn, so Naiman needs to push 10 damage, not just 9.
I just thought about it. You can play Spikeridge Steed on Doomsayer.
Okay, that's creative. That'd be actually pretty cool. He's trying to get the Doomsayer to actually activate. So he's gonna... He's even killing the Drake, though, to try and guarantee it to activate. He's wasting all of his damage now. So there's going to be nothing left on the board for Naiman. And he's going to try and play Light Lord, but Light Lord alone does not kill PF. So what he's trying to set up for is he plays Light Lord next turn, PF develops a bunch of Jades into the Light Lord, and then if Naiman top decks True Silver, Naiman wins the game. He's got 2 True Silvers left. Also, Consecrate wins him the game, right? Oh no, Consecrate doesn't win him the game because he can hero power twice out of range of it. So it has to be True Silver.
I think PF was like still waiting for what's happening after the shuffle. He's like, no, 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 this time you don't have the second effect. But it's a good tempo swing for Naiman, that's definitely true. Like, the Doomsayer's clutch here. But it all depends. Oh.
He could play another Doomsayer.
Okay, that's
to get another chance to try and find...
He can heal this turn and play the Doomsayer.
Right. Well, I mean
the other way around. But
yeah. As long as he plays the Doomsayer, he should know at this point, because deck lists are public, that PF's hand is Nourish, Jade Idol, Jade Spirit, Hungry Crab, Jade Behemoth, and then his entire deck is Jade Idols. So there's no more healing left. But the thing is, how does he beat the Behemoth? Ever. Because all PF needs to do is play Behemoth to stop the Light Lord, and then Naiman can't win from that position.
Let me check if there's anything else you guys can remember. Naiman. Paladin.
Even with the True Silver Champion, he won't be able to cut through enough health.
He has Rallying Blade instead of True Silver Champion.
Okay, he has Rallying Blade. Well, so then he needs to go for this now and hope the Behemoth isn't there, but he knows the Behemoth is there. But this is his best chance to be able to push through enough damage.
Well, this is awkward.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, there's no way he's going to be able to set up a clear on everything.
He still has 1 equality, but he doesn't have a way of activating it in a good way.
Okay, so what, if he gets the Rallying Blade... No, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, the Hungry Crab just...
The Hungry Crab, it really tilts the scales over the top.
Yeah, exactly. That's
right.
nail to the coffin.
Nail to the coffin. If not for the Hungry Crab.
Man, such a powerful card. It's an epic. Has to be, right?
But he gets 2 swings with the Rallying Blade, but he needs to assemble an equality combo at this point.
I mean, he's dead. So.
He's dead, yeah. I mean, he heals up to 30.
Okay, he can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you win then?
I'm still not really... Well, this is the last taunt. If he can somehow figure out a situation to get the Doomsayer to go off again, then whatever minion he establishes is going to be able to connect with PF's face. But trying to figure out a way to make the Doomsayer get off is a bit tricky.
What was the name of the weapon from Paladin that gave Divine Shield? That was the hammer.
The Coghammer.
The Coghammer, yeah.
That's in Wild, though.
That would have been an amazing card right now.
That would have been pretty sick. He's relying on the Ragnaros healing his face.
Alright. Let's see that 50-50. Oh, okay.
It hits his face, so he's still alive for now. But PF is able to clear the entire board.
Oh no, he's running out of cards. When you think about it, Druid not only has infinite cards, but it also draws cards faster than Paladin.
Yeah, it goes infinite very quickly, because Paladin does give it enough time to be able to set up really powerful gadget turns.
I wonder what he will get. Oh.
That's probably the last one.
It's the first game of the entire tournament and you already have a meme.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe Spike Ridge Steed? No, Spike Ridge Steed doesn't allow it to get through.
Well,
he's already
he had
used
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go for it.
You can, yeah. If a quality clear comes out, then you play Jade Spirit, Jade Idol, setting up lethal again. Yeah.
Oh.
No, you can break Noble Sacrifice with the hero power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the Eye for an Eye.
Or the... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Unless he messes up.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like the misdirection lethal.
No, he didn't go for it.
Oh, come on.
He's just showing too much respect. That's what Naiman's saying there. He's like, PF's not going to fall for it. It's just a waste of everybody's time.
Why? But the one time it happens, and then everyone is freaking out.
Yeah, I would have went for it, but Naiman's showing PF some mad respect. He's like, he's not going to misplay that. He's a good player. All right. We're going to an interview, it sounds like.
Oh, really?
大家也可以叫我胖峰，然后现在 ID 是 OMPF， 很高兴这次能够晋级到这边 SLI 的线下总决赛。我希望能在接下来好好的发挥吧，反正已经走到这一步了，也不想太多。每天的话，其实可能会分成2种类型，一种就是马上大赛临近，一种是平常的手。大赛临近的话，可能每天除了吃饭睡觉，都是在炉石的整个游戏上面去进行练习，或者说进行一些研究，或者进行一些讨论。那平常的话，可能在除了游戏之外，还会去做一些其他的事情，比如说去运动一下，或者说去玩一些其他的游戏，轻松一下。对，就是炉石，因为比较看运气嘛，就是你不一定打得好就能赢，所以有的时候可能会对手一些运气特别好赢了，你会觉得非常沮丧或者非常愤怒啊、生气啊，其实都有。但这种就是慢慢的随着你打炉石时间的增长，或者说随着年龄的增长，因为打炉石也有2年多了，就慢慢的你会把心情平复下来，更有种平常心去对待这样的游戏。暂时应该还没有吧，但是我觉得，因为我之前开始从事炉石，可以说相对来说职业的一个道路的时候，会有去给自己设定一个时间，然后今年的话应该是我最后一年给自己设定必须要有成绩的时间。 如果今年还没有成绩的话，我可能会去看看有什么其他的更好的一些选择。但我觉得我有信心能够在今年打出自己的成绩，证明自己。我觉得最大的粉丝可能是我爸妈了，因为从开始打炉石到现在，他们可能和其他父母不一样，可能更开明开放一点吧。他们一直蛮支持我的，觉得我有梦想就应该去追求它，去努力的完成它。他们也会在我比较失落的时候鼓励我，然后可能在我取得一些成绩的时候告诉我不要骄傲，要好好的继续做下去。反正他们一直给我很大的支持。可能插 hope 吧，因为一方面是我们两个可能交集比较多，平常相对一起练牌、一起讨论的时间会比较多。另外一方面，他是我见过玩炉石里面是我见过最认真的人，就是他在大赛之前的准备是超乎所有人的，所以他也确实能拿到一些成绩。虽然说我平常经常说他菜啊，说他鱼啊，但是他这份努力是我一直觉得蛮羡慕，他能拥有这样的一个恒心去做这样的一件事。他也拿到了成绩，我也希望能够有他这样的勇气去这样的努力，这样的恒心。其实炉石作为一个游戏，它可能给我的意义是让我感觉快乐，但其实我在玩游戏其中的快乐的时候，可能是让我自己觉得会有些优越感，或者说在里面我发现我去有自己的一份特长在某个领域里面。所以炉石对我意义可能是让我知道自己在某些方面会有一些擅长。包括能够证明自己是，怎么说呢，就是和一些人比起来可能会更优秀一点，在炉石这个方面这样的一个情况。然后现在的话，一段时间下来，炉石可能已经在我生命中已经比较重要了，可能暂时离开它会觉得手足无措，我不知道应该去做什么。我觉得炉石带给我了很多快乐，也让我成长了很多，包括心态上的，思想上的都会让我成长很多。
All right. Those were some words about PF and his thoughts on the game and himself as a player. For those of you that don't really know PF, and sounds like a pretty cool guy, pretty smart.
To be honest, I'm really impressed that StarLadder is doing those in native languages for the players, because that's really important to show their character. Right. When you speak in your not native language, you basically have a different approach to everything you do, and you can't really express yourself the same way you do in your native language. So it's pretty cool to see the players in their comfort zone.
Right.
While speaking about the game, and they can show some, their own character.
Yeah, who they are.
Yeah.
You know? He says his parents are his biggest supporters. That's really cool. Obviously, really important to have that support network, but the big story there is, this is his last year. He says he's going to try and be super competitive, and if it doesn't work and he's not able to produce results, that's going to be it. So this is big for him.
It is, and now I guess he wants some fans.
Yeah. He said in there that he looked up to X-Hope. He's a player that I've had the pleasure of casting a lot, who recently just won a Ferrari in EU versus CN. So.
Does he have a driver license?
I don't know if he has a driver's license or not, but he has a Ferrari. So
I mean, then you can get a license.
Yeah,
right?
you get the Ferrari first, then figure out the whole license thing. But this matchup, Jade Shaman for PF up against Naiman's Freeze Mage. And if you're Naiman, I guess this is one of the more favorable matchups for your Freeze Mage. Shaman does have a lot of healing, but Shaman is extremely slow. And so I imagine there's ways he can wiggle out enough damage to close the game.
But still, there are the problematic cards, which are named Jade Golems.
Yeah, they put out a lot of pressure extremely quickly. There's also a bit of healing with within the Shaman deck, and you can Spirit Echo some of those healing cards. But there's only one healing card, actually. Oh, no, there's two Jinyu Water Speakers, of course, and the Water Spring Guardian. Hot Spring Guardian.
Hot Spring Guardian, yes.
Yeah, so PF's going to be trying to establish those minions, Spirit Echo them, so then he can play them repeatedly and kind of close out the game. But it's kind of hard to guarantee that your minions are going to die, because Freeze Mage doesn't play things for you to trade into. They just freeze your board forever.
Well, you have Volcano.
Yeah, you can Volcano your frozen board to then be able to heal yourself. So that is one way to activate your own healing, but it's really tricky, and you have to plan for that and set up for it.
Although when you play two Gingers and you play Hot Spring Guardian, that's 16 HP.
Yeah, you got a lot, but
all right.
Sometimes you don't draw all three of them, right? So then you have to, figure it out.
Yeah.
Full tempo, doesn't even totem.
I liked it. I like this. He has to deal as much damage as possible to set up some awkward plays for Naiman to not have optimal turns, like turn 3 Arcane Intellect. Always, like, it kind of feels bad when your opponent can do some damage to you during that time. Although PF has only 2 1/1s, getting at 2-1 would be actually a very huge difference here for PF.
It's just 33% more damage.
Oh, wow.
That's big.
Pretty big. Yeah, the investment pays out. All right. Other than that, for PF, the turns aren't actually looking pretty okay. He can follow up with Jade Spirit. The Jade Lightning is something that you would like to stick around with and just play it as a finisher after he breaks the ice and his board is frozen. So that's something you don't want to play as much, as long as you have board still.
So he's got the Harrison Jones for the next turn, filling out the curve, and you can even play a 6-mana thing from below. It's not bad. 6-mana 5/5. Just consistent pressure out there. Meanwhile, Naiman needs to be trying to set up a Frost Nova Doomsayer play would be preferable. Some way to kind of slow down this board without wasting too many resources.
Well,
because
he can go for Ice Block and Valet, right?
Yeah, you can, but one of the issues with having to do one of those plays, Valet's damage. You're losing some of the damage from your deck. He has 2 Frostbolts, 2 Valets, 2 Fireballs. He has Pyroblast, so he does have a lot of damage. And he has Archmage Antonidas to generate more burn. And Primordial Glyphs to get more burn. But Shaman's got 16 points of healing, so...
Well, the Antonidas is key, right?
Yeah, Antonidas is definitely... If you can set that up with some glyphs to like generate additional Fireballs and whatnot. So, at the end of the day, I think if you can just create time, create space to build up your combos, you will have enough damage to beat the healing from PF. But...
It's all about thinking like when the Valet is just the best, right? And in this case, it sets up...
He says he can get a Doomsayer off right now.
Wow, okay, that's actually optimistic.
Yeah, there is 6 damage on the board, so PF only needs 1 damage to be able to close it down, or a Hex can do it. So he's got Jade Lightning and Hex as the available tools that can answer it.
That was a very interesting play. I'm not sure exactly why did Naiman do that.
He wanted to set up for Acolyte on the following turn, I imagine. But a little bit punished for that as the Doomsayer does get taken down.
It's basically what it did is just heal for 7.
Right.
But, I mean, not heal, but like armor.
Sure.
But in this case, it doesn't really deal with the board, and it's still far away from the Flame Strike, and you kind of still need to do something about this board again. So you either stall with Ice Barrier, because that's basically the same play as the Doomsayer, last turn.
Yeah.
And then you can play Flame Strike next turn. But, oh man, this is so awkward.
I think you want to play Ice Block instead of Ice Barrier, just because you want the secret to be established for your Valets, but... Yeah, I think that's the plan, is trying to stall out for the Flame Strike. He's going to get the Valet out there now. Contests the board, which is fine. Not spectacularly, but he is just keeping PF down, keeping him off the board. But yeah, Doomsayer, oftentimes you want to force it to draw a Hex against Shaman, because if you can get your Doomsayers to draw Hexes, then they're not going to have Hex for the Archmage Antonidas plus Frost Nova, or the like Alexstrasza that can come out later. So getting Hexes out of the hand can be extremely powerful, but healing for 7, he's just saying, you know what, all I need is time. I don't need to actually trade resources like that. I just need time, and I can create my own resources.
It's actually super crucial for Naiman to win this game. Like, if he can secure the win with the Freeze Mage...
It's a big deal, yeah.
It's a big deal, yeah.
There's a Taunt Warrior in PF's lineup, and he did ban the Rogue from PF, which would have been maybe the Freeze Mage's best matchup, so... Other than that, the Freeze Mage has pretty unfavorables across the board. So getting this out of the way for Naiman is one of the ways he can start to swing the tides.
One of the most obvious turns here is just coin Flame Strike, but at the same time, you want to keep the coin for the Antonidas.
Yes.
Because you might need that additional Fireball in the end, so just go through with the final turns. Because your hand is not looking very, you know, potent, to say the least.
It's looking pretty garbage. He could do Acolyte of Pain plus Volcanic Potion to get 2 draws off the Acolyte of Pain and clear the entire board this turn.
That's not bad, actually. I think I like this more than the coin Flame Strike, because...
Yeah, you get to save the coin for Antonidas.
Yeah, and you get card draw at the same time, so seems like a very, very decent option.
Yeah, you just don't get too much board development because your 2/3 does have to die in the collateral damage here. But But yeah, this is seeming very good for the Freeze Mage.
Well, you either play a 5-5 with taunt or a 5-4 without taunt, which is no difference here. So I guess you go for Harrison Jones? Interesting.
I would have went for the Harrison as well, because the thing from below can get cheaper in the future, but I guess he wants to deny the Acolyte of Pain from attacking without using his weapon. He wants to save the weapon for something. One of the things the weapon save can help him do is clear Archmage, I guess, with the Jade Lightning potentially in the future, if it has spell power. It's interesting.
That's a very interesting choice, since he plays double Spirit Echo.
Yeah, and Spirit Echo is way better with Thing from Below than it is with Harrison Jones.
Yeah.
But
interesting choice. I would really like to hear why did he do that, like, you know, from his own perspective, because he had reasoning, right, to do that.
Well, he wanted to save the weapon and not take one from the Acolyte, I guess. Point Alex. They don't have the healing, they're gonna die.
And even if he has the healing, then he needs to commit to it right now.
Right.
And probably will not have enough time to actually play Spirit Echo alongside it, because what
exactly.
That's really not good target.
They have to hex the Alex and play the healing this turn.
Yeah.
And then I guess technically they don't have to heal, because Naiman is only on 9 mana in his next turn, because he used the coin to play Alexstrasza. So you could forgo the healing one turn to try and wait for the Spirit Echo, but PF is not messing about. I'm just getting the healing in now. No totem. He wants to minimize the amount of minions on his board for his Spirit Echo.
Mm-hmm. Which he doesn't have.
Yeah, which he does not have. So Naiman can just set up for Pyroblast to be lethal, and unless PF has one of his other 3 healing cards, he just dies.
He committed with the Alexstrasza.
Yeah.
And he can't really play on the board unless he wants to play Flame Strike this turn. So Flame Strike and Frostbolt to the face is one of the options, but it's not really like... doesn't make any sense.
I don't like
right?
it. I think you just double Fireball him. If he doesn't have one of those healing cards, then he has to... he just dies. Like, Spirit Echo kill your own board doesn't work because you don't have the mana to play Jinyu. Yeah. Wow. This Freeze Mage is just breezing through, getting a win, no problem, it looks like. Unless there is the draw. But even then, he's got so much... Oh, the Jinyu!
Look at that.
He needed exactly that card.
It's still not over till it's over.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not over. You can set up, I mean, if he draws any burn spell, he sets up the Pyro again, and then PF is back in the same situation. It's not a burn spell. Both Fireballs are gone, both Valets are gone.
He can go for the Arcane Intellect and see what he gets, right?
Yeah, he would need to get exactly Frostbolt off the Arcane Intellect to be able to set up for the Pyroblast. You can get a freeze alongside it. Well, that is kind of enough burn, but it's a long setup to get there. But Blizzard sets up for the Flame Strike, and then you can clear your opponent's entire board, and then all of the healing cards are pretty much out of the way. They just have the Hot Spring Guardian that they could try and land on the Spirit Echo, but that's it.
So PF has one turn to draw the Spirit Echo.
Yeah, after the Blizzard comes down.
Well, this will be a tough turn for both players, actually. Because when you think about it, Blizzard is not mana efficient, but it stops 4 attack, 4 damage from your
He's going
opponent.
to go with Flame Strike instead. He wants to Blizzard bigger Jade Golems. I see.
Okay.
So when the new Jade Golems come out, the Blizzard will be more effective. He's not afraid of taking 6 damage.
So Naiman can read out pretty easily what is in hand from PF. Like, there's
useless
nothing,
garbage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing that interacts with his own board,
Yeah.
and most likely it's something that interacts with your opponent's board.
Yeah. So you start thinking about Hex, Devolve, Volcano, that sort of stuff. So he was unable to set up lethal with this sequence because he couldn't squeeze in an extra ping, but
But he played around the
But he
Spirit
played
Echo,
around the Spirit Echo.
and that's fantastic for
Yeah.
Naiman, because basically what it does is seals the entire game.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it will happen in 5 turns or 6, but it basically wins him the game.
Yeah. It's really tough for PF to win from this position.
Which is kind of sad for PF, because he has like a really good deck against this Freeze Mage. I mean, the
All of
Shaman's
his
not
other
terrible.
decks are way better, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
This is-
still, with this deck, it's not that terrible. But he had to put, like, he had to play those really awkward turns
Yeah.
with the Ginger just to be alive.
Yeah, because the Alex came out so early, and Naiman had all the burn. He had double Fireball, Pyroblast, Frostbolt, double Valet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and-
so-
yeah, everything in doubles basically.
Pretty much. That's the way you want to draw with Freeze Mage, that's for sure. And
Naiman has to be pretty happy about that.
it's his favorite deck, so you expect him to play it well. Expect him to be able to get a win, even against the lineup that all of the decks are good against Freeze Mage. And it looks like we're going to hear his thoughts about it. So we're going to throw it in Naiman and see what he has to say.
Меня зовут Олжас, выступаю под никнеймом Naiman, играю за команду Virtus.pro и представляю также свою любимую страну, Казахстан. Я просыпаюсь, я кушаю, умываюсь, сажусь за компьютер, потом опять кушаю, потом опять сажусь за компьютер, приходит жена, кушаю, немножко телевизора, где-то часа 2, потом опять за компьютер, потом жена ложится спать, она просыпается, за компьютером я ложусь спать. За компьютером сейчас, находясь за компьютером, да, это ладерные игры на Азии, Европе, Америке, то есть в данный момент на 3 серверах пытаюсь играть. Потом это онлайн-турниры, и также это подготовка именно к турнирам, которые будут, ну, например, StarLadder, Global Games, то есть подготовка колод. Очень интересно. Когда я играю, и в момент, когда очень много, очень длинные лустреки, ну, просто это момент, когда нужно пойти покушать. Иногда, да, вот именно когда моменты, то есть именно лустреки заходят до такого момента, что просто невыносимо. Но именно в Hearthstone, чтобы им закончить карьеру, никогда не задумывался, нужно просто еще больше пойти покушать. Из самых моих таких самых главных фанатов, наверное, можно выделить недавнего моего фаната, это мою любимую маму. То есть она в последнее время, она начала играть в Hearthstone, она смотрит, она пытается понять эту игру, она смотрит все мои турниры, которые бывают очень поздно ночью. Также мой брат меня очень сильно поддерживает, родной. Но он меня не только в Hearthstone поддерживал, во всех начинаниях, во всех действиях, ну, с момента школы. Также, конечно, это жена. Потом у меня есть замечательный мой тренер, который был показан в предыдущем сезоне StarLadder. Это моя любимая кошка. То есть она мне тоже дает энергию, поддержку. Также папа, мама, ну, все мои родственники, наверное, они являются самыми главными фанатами. Также признательны тем людям, которые за меня болеют, которые радуются моим успехам и которые поддерживают в моменты, когда происходит неудача. Если говорить о наставнике в Hearthstone, то это будет точно 100% Сталлоне в фильме «Рокки». То есть перед самыми главными турнирами надо, самое важное, это пересмотреть все части «Рокки», потом играешь в Hearthstone и всех выносишь. Если говорить о смысле Hearthstone, смысл Hearthstone это побеждать, быть лучшим, да.
The Kazakhstan representative with his Rocky reference. I mean, you said he's American because he just likes to
He
eat
has
them.
to be American, right? Like he's all he does is play Hearthstone, eat food, watch Rocky. Like
It's very American of him.
I'm digging it, man. Naiman's an honorary NA representative for this tournament,
So, well, at least, you know, he plays Freeze Mage.
right?
He is American, and he took the place instead of Frozen.
Okay, so yeah, I could see that. He's just kind of filling the role of
Yeah,
the new Frozen.
kinda like it. All right. So it's 1-1, and it's something that we didn't anticipate that so fast will happen because Naiman is pretty unfavored in this matchup, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, in the entire match.
Yeah, yeah. Every
So-
matchup, basically.
The two worst decks that we have discussed was actually the Freeze Mage, that it was had a very hard time to actually squeeze a win,
Sure.
and the Priest, and now he's
Priest
left
for
with the
sure, yeah.
Priest.
Yeah, the Priest could maybe get a win against, like, the Control Paladin from PF. It's able to get some good Shadow Visions or something like this, but it's not going to be easy for him, that's for sure. But one of the things going for him, though, is he has, you know, Taunt Warrior and N'Zoth Paladin up against Taunt Warrior and Control Paladin. So that side, he's got mirrors in, basically. So now it's just the Priest and the Shaman. But Priest oftentimes has a pretty good matchup against these kind of control-y shamans because they have so much board clear, able to Shadow Visions for more Dragonfire potions, and just being able to keep Shaman off the board can be extremely powerful. I think there's a chance.
All right, well, let's look at this. Paladin versus Shaman. So both decks that we already have seen, and both of them lost a game already. Well, obviously, because we're playing Conquest. So in this case, the Volcano actually has a lot of promise in this matchup because it plays around Divine Shields.
Okay.
It's less great against typical Death Rattle minions because they interrupt the Volcano after they're dead, right? Basically,
yeah, the Volcano can't kill both halves.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still just like, it's very similar to the matchup we saw earlier where PF was playing the Jade Druid against Naiman's N'Zoth Paladin, as eventually the Jades get out of control. So you have to try and, you know, keep the pressure on, stop the Jades from getting out of control, and then once you get to one of those positions, you can kind of out-pressure them and win. But it's even harder to out-pressure Shaman because they have tools like Volcano, Devolve, and Hex that are so insane against Paladin.
And the healing cards are actually built in minions.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. The ability just to Hex Tyrion is insane. If Naiman is unable to get big minions off of his Stonehill Defenders that force out the Hexes, then it's very likely that his N'Zoth is going to bring back nothing.
That is true. But he gets a second Terran and a Burn Bristle.
You got to take the Tarim, I think. He's going into 4 mana next turn, so he doesn't have a play. So there is some argument for going for the Wicker Flame in that instance. But you can always kind of fill out the curve with Hydrologist, at least, you know, worst case. And Tarim, I think, is just the highest power level card. It allows you to maybe make something happen.
Unfortunately, he plays against a class that probably benefits the most out of opponent's Terran, like from all the classes, right?
Okay, yeah, because it just buffs their minions, yeah.
Because they go wide, right?
Yeah.
Shaman has his totems, has multiple minions that generate minions at the same time. And one thing that I wanted actually to touch is that Spirit Echo in this Shaman acts like a Jade idol, basically.
Yeah.
It's not infinite, but it gives you the additional buff for those Jade Golems to be, you know, just playable all the time.
Yeah, it's a good card to have. A lot of times you want to try and land it on Aya. That's absolutely insane. A Jade deck with 2 Ayas is a good deck.
Yep. Even when you have to pay additional 3 mana for that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'd easily pay 9 mana for a second Aya if I could.
But it's pretty cool that it has so many uses. Because you can, you know, even if you get like a Mana Tide Totem back, you can get even a Taunt Totem back, which is not bad. Because it stops some classes just from getting in, you know, into your other minions.
Naiman trying to figure out if he wants to try and set a Doomsayer here, or what he really wants to be doing. He could clear the entire board with the Concentrate. He really wants to deny this Mana Tide Totem from drawing. So if he sets a Doomsayer and he successfully goes off, PF is still gaining an additional card. So it's a bit of a risk, and it can walk into problems against Devolve or Hex.
All right. Well, the Devolve is actually pretty beneficial here. It's so funny when you think about it, but Doomsayer, Dirty Rat are like the best targets for Devolve.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, the Devolve maintains your Mana Tide. It's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. That's what you want, just able to continue getting additional cards throughout the course of the game. But he has no Hex in hand, so he doesn't want to use it now. He wants to try and save it for Tyrion.
That is interesting. Because
I would love to see him hold on to that Mana Tide. It's a threatening force.
Although Naiman has, you know, still weapons in his deck, right? And he did actually draw his only weapon,
right?
Rallying Blade. Apart from that, he only has Tyrion. It's super interesting that in this tournament we will actually see a warrior. Most likely, we'll see a warrior that has no weapons and a paladin that doesn't play True Silver Champions.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. It's just the weapons starting to fall out of favor a little bit. It's just because of how control-driven current metagame is.
But they can still give you so much tempo that sometimes you just win on the back of the weapon because it allows you to maintain board control while your opponent is struggling to get back on that board.
Yeah, True Silver, just people are saying is too slow right now. There's so many, 3 health minions or 2 health minions that people are playing. Not a lot of people playing too many big minions at the moment.
So one secret was played by Naiman. Now PF needs to think what kind of secret it is and do I want to trigger it right now? An example, if it's, let's say, Noble Sacrifice.
I think he's got to know it's Noble Sacrifice, right? Like, no one makes the hero power if it's Getaway Kodo.
Yeah, or Redemption.
Or Redemption. So you have to kind of assume it's most likely to be Noble Sacrifice. But he could be trying to... He's going to be extra safe. He swings at the 1/1 there.
Well, it makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah, if it is Noble Sacrifice, it doesn't matter where you swing.
Yeah.
So he just swings at the 1/1 just in case it happens to be Getaway Kodo or Redemption. So I like it.
So we have a card that we did not see in the first match from that Paladin. Infested Tauren is one of the cards that honestly plays in Zov decks.
Right.
Because how crucial can it be to have a taunt minion after you activate in Zov? Because you can use the Zov as a play to set up lethal for the next turn, but at the same time you might be very low on health on your own. So taunts are super important in those situations.
Indeed. And the push from Naiman there, he tempo Sunkeeper Terram. He's not holding it out for a lot of value. Wants to just fight for this board aggressively, push through as much chip damage as he can, try and force PF to have to use awkward Spirit Echoes and what have you.
So when you think about it, you would like to kill the Aya as soon as possible, right?
You get rid of the Spirit Echo out, yeah, if you can.
But then you put a 4/4 on board, which is better than the 5/3s, especially when you have a 3/4 Harem. So that's pretty awkward.
It's a bit tricky. You can always gamble. You can always say, he doesn't have the Spirit Echo.
But if he has it?
If he has it, then bad news bears.
So in this case, True Silver Champion will be actually pretty crucial.
It would have been better than Rallying Blade for here, yeah.
But I still think you need to kill the Aya. Even if it's not great to your board, you can play the Infested Tauren and still kind of battle back on that 4/4.
And try and get maybe a Getaway Kodo down. If you can get away Kodo the Sunkeeper Terram, it's insane.
That's true. But then you can't play any other taunt minion. Ooh, interesting.
This definitely lowers the value of Spirit Echo pretty good.
Interesting. But that means that, an example, a Maelstrom Portal still is fantastic in this situation.
Maelstrom Portal would be... But one of the things that it does is the... it makes so Volcano pulls back Sunkeeper Terram, because Sunkeeper Terram is the first minion played now. Because the Hydrologist died, which was actually played before the Sunkeeper Terram. So getting that out of the way can help make sure that your Sunkeeper Terram is the one that gets Getaway Kodo'd if Volcano comes out.
Currently in Standard we have less problems with, those orders being on the board, but when I played Wild, for the last month, I can tell you, it's not that easy to remember all the interactions all the time. Like an example, Mad Scientist with other 2 minions, and then it puts out Duplicate, and then it matters a lot what happens, when it was killed, why it was killed, and what was the order that was played. It's not easy to predict stuff.
It gets really tricky.
So PF 10-7 is already looking at a very oppressive board from his own. 5/5 and a 6/6. And full hand, basically.
Full hand, yeah. And a Spirit Echo to fill it more. But he's out of Jade cards, which is super important. There aren't as many Jade cards in the Shaman as there are in the Druid, so he can find himself running into a little bit of trouble if he is unable to find Jade cards and his board gets cleared.
Alright. Well, he's still trying to maintain tempo with the Doomsayer on top of that, but the Devolve will just ruin this.
Yeah. He had an opportunity to get a lot of value out of Devolve earlier on a Doomsayer, and he saved it, and heavily rewarded for saving it. It works out very well for PF here, just holding on to it, making sure he has it for the key moment when he needs it. And you're very happy as the Shaman going down in life total, right? So although the Shaman looks like it has way less life than the Paladin, you're very comfortable here because of the other resources that are in play. Paladin's not a deck that's going to burn you out from hand, so you don't really have to worry about that at all. Your life total's not that important.
Literally what Naiman can do is 5 damage from the Ashbringer.
That's about it, yeah. And
on top of that, on top of that, right? So that's 7. Other than that, he doesn't have a True Silver Champion, so the Relying Blade is just 3 damage.
Instead of 4, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 5 damage of Consecration, and that's about it. The other burst damage that he has would be just an Zoff a turn later.
Right, yeah.
Could have found the target, but
needs to find an equality clear. Needs to find some way to shut this down, but honestly, this might be enough value for Spirit Echo.
With the White Eyes, or with the Stonehill Defender? I feel like...
I think the Stonehill Defender.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. You go the thing from below, Stonehill Defender, Spirit Echo. The problem is the hand size might be a factor, because the Stonehill Defender gives you another card. He already has 8 cards in his hand.
Doesn't matter then. I mean, if you get Stonehill Defender to your hand, you will benefit from it anyway at some point. So if you burn a card from your deck, you'll probably use additional Stonehill Defender instead of that card anyway.
I'd like to see him hold on to the thing from below. He's choosing not to Spirit Echo this turn, but he could be very patient with the thing from below, combine it with the Spirit Echo later on.
Alright, well, his golems are right now very vulnerable. Oh my god, can't say that. They can be easily killed by Consecration, but that means Naiman has to sacrifice 4 mana for that turn, and then he knows he cannot play on top of that any big minion.
And he's able to clear the board, maintain a little bit of presence. You know, he's got the Slime and a 1/1. It's not bad. It's not good, though. And he's only got 2 cards, and he's facing down this just ginormous hand from PF. Just trying to stabilize against the scaling of the Jade Golems has costed Naiman way more cards than it's cost PF.
Huh. Okay, I guess they go in pairs.
2 hexes. This is where, you know, you get 1 more board clear for Naiman, and then suddenly the Spirit Echo is going to lose a lot of value. He's holding back the thing from below again. I like that. He's just making sure he has just enough pressure, but keeping enough things back for the Spirit Echo. Because there's so many dead cards in the Shaman, so Naiman has to know that even if there's a lot of cards in PF's hand, it's possible for him to have hexes, devolves, volcanoes, Spirit Echoes in his hand, and not actually have very many minions.
But it will be so tough for Naiman to actually do anything in this game right now. In this, like, the value of his hand is basically 0.
Yeah.
Like, all those minions are vanilla.
It's not good. It's definitely not good. And the value of PF's hand is very high.
Ooh.
Keeps it around to get a 2/2.
Oh, well, that's a good target for Spirit Echo as well.
Yeah. He still has hand size issues at the moment, and he needs to hex this turn. But he can hold on to that for later. He could play it just to try and force out the equality.
Alright, so if he doesn't totem up anymore, and his thing from below stays at 1 mana, I think it's actually fine for the Spirit Echo in the upcoming turn, because as you said, this turn he needs to commit to the hex, so he will hold on onto the Spirit Echo.
Right, but he wants to be setting up lethal. He wants to just force the equality to happen. So he's saying, you know what, Naiman, if you don't clear this turn, you are dead. And he's not dead.
And that's helpful, because it can kill the White Eyes if Naiman predicts that there will be a Spirit Echo next turn.
I mean, he just needs to do it so he doesn't die. That's beneficial.
But then you make trades, right? So you need to assume what to do. Because if you want to kill the White Eyes, you trade first with the Slime into the Taunt Totem, and then the 1/1 kills the White Eyes. Otherwise, you could also just go for a trade with...
The
Well, actually, it makes no sense to trade with the Stonehill Defender. So you have to do it anyway.
Well, you want to trade with the Stonehill Defender to lower Spirit Echo value if you wanted.
But then it's just better to kill the Wide Eyes instead.
Well, you kill both, because your 1/1's a 3/3 as well.
But do you want to lose your 3/3? That's the question.
Right, yeah. You get to kill a 3 free if you kill the Taunt Totem first.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the question of, do you want an extra 3/3, or do you want to deny the Spirit Echo on the Stonehill Defender? And Naiman's going to choose he wants an extra 3/3. He values tempo a lot more.
He goes for the maximum. I like it. He has to play the Pyromancer because he is looking down on a very formidable board, and that means he needs to get all the measures right now to get ahead, maybe kill his opponent next turn.
You have to know at this point your opponent has Volcano in their hand, though.
Maybe he doesn't, and maybe that's your ticket to win. How do you win otherwise?
But he passed with like 8 cards in his hand for like 10 turns.
Okay, but how do you win otherwise?
You outvalue top deck really big minions and outvalue. It's tricky, right? Okay, so he's trying to fit. Maybe this is his only chance. Is there's no Volcano, and the opponent's just been holding on to other stuff. But
Double
I mean, like,
Spirit Echo, Lightning Storm, and
Lightning Storm's a bummer.
yeah.
It's very tricky. But your opponent's been holding on to a bunch of cards, so you can assume there's reactive tools. But Volcano clear the board. Naiman's left with only 1 card in whatever he top decks. Seems very strong to me. And then you could even play out the Jinyu. He's going to play the Jinyu first. He's not playing Volcano this turn.
He goes for the Spirit Echo.
He goes for it.
That means he wants to replay the Stonehill Defender. But does he have enough time? That's the problem. He gets a random card for the Stonehill, right?
Yeah, he got the far left card.
No, he got... Okay, that was actually the best one.
Yeah, that was the best one. He's able to repopulate his hand this way, get a lot of resources. The Spirit Echo value can be kind of negated, though, because you can force some overdraw here.
What an unfortunate... sorry, what an unfortunate turns of events for Naiman. All those synergy cards drawn when it's already, you know, kind of too late.
Yeah, there's not really the board you want to equality, especially when you know what's coming. You know your opponent has just refueled their entire hand with resources. You fear additional Jade cards coming out soon. You do make them overdraw a little bit, which is always nice. They overdraw 1 card from their deck.
So you have 0 cards, but your opponent has 10 in overdraws. I don't think that will be problematic for them. You know what's even sadder than that? Is that the fact that even when Naiman draws his most value card in the deck, like the biggest value card in his deck, which was Zoth, it doesn't give him much.
Yeah,
it's just the Tauren.
Right? It's just the Tauren, yeah.
Because the Kern was devolved.
Right.
And that's about it. And fantastic.
He needs to find... If his next 2 draws are like... Well, even if he draws Tyrion into N'Zoth, it's just going to get hexed. He does get a good mill, though. Able to get rid of one of the thing from belows from PF. But good enough? I don't know.
Well, that setup's lethal for PF next turn, unless Naiman kills something on the board, and he got actually a very decent card this turn.
Yeah, you can trade into the 7/7 this way with the Harrison Jones, and then if Hex comes out to meet it, then he can find himself with the ability to get Tyrion to stick. So if he draws Tyrion into N'Zoth behind this, there is a world where he could close this out. Or stabilize.
Or try.
Or try, yeah. There's a world where he starts to get in it. But for right now, he's got 1 card at a time. PF has the world of options. He's got reactive tools, aggressive tools, weapon removal, utility heal. He's just got everything he could need. And he can honestly kill this without hexing it if he wants to.
And to be honest, I would like that. Just you have so much value, you don't really need to hex it.
I guess. I think it's fine hexing it, close the game out quicker. Like, even if Tyrion comes down at this point, you can just kill it.
Okay, doesn't matter. I was just interested in why did he kill the 1/1,
right? He's just trying to play around the equality's ability to kill his 8/8. So if Naiman top decks equality, Naiman would be able to kill the 8/8, preventing lethal, I guess.
So 2-1 for PF, and just to remind you guys, this is a best of 7 tournament. So still a long way ahead of both of those players to seal the match. Oh,
Right.
and here we go. This is a prediction board.
Prediction board.
For the players, actually.
Okay.
As you can see,
the players picked who they thought would win?
I think so. PF actually picked 4 players already.
Okay, so PF picks Zalay to win over Stan Sivka. Or is this just the matchups? This might just be the matchups.
Sure.
I'm not sure if it's even predictions.
It
might have just... you know what, I think RDU just got fancy with arts and crafts. I think that's what happened.
You think that's RDU's job?
I think that looks like RDU's handwriting, right?
Yeah,
Or,
no, I saw a girl here.
Oh, is it a girl? Yeah, it's probably
I don't think I saw a single man with a good handwriting.
Right, yeah, it's true. Well, TJ from HCT has great handwriting. He always does the prediction boards and the
Did you
chalkboard.
see how long does it take?
It takes a long time, but it's very good. You know, he puts effort into it. It's nice.
He's like 1 millimeter, you know, per second.
I mean, that's what you got to do.
Okay. Do you even know how much millimeter is?
I mean, like this much, maybe, like something.
That's like half a centimeter.
Half a centimeter. Okay. So yeah, smaller than that. I don't know. We don't learn the metric system. I know it's got something to do with tens.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Our system makes no sense. It's like, yeah, 12
and then suddenly,
yeah.
gallon.
I don't know how that system works either. I do know how this matchup works, though. We got Priest versus Taunt Warrior.
Oh my god.
It's
gonna be a slaughter.
It probably is going to be a slaughter. One of the things that's actually a big deal, though, the Warrior has no War Axes, which does make the Galaka Crawler have some ability to stick and be threatening. It's going to be able to propose a bunch of chip damage throughout the course of the game. The Priest is really looking for Shadow Word Pains and just stacking things onto the board early. If there's not met by a brawl from the Taunt Warrior, then they can get through tons of chip damage with their early minions, get huge tempo swings from Shadow Word Pain, and just get to a position where they kill the Taunt Warrior before the quest even happens. We see him keep the Galaka Crawler.
Well, it's a good 2-drop.
Yeah,
it's 2-3. Right?
There's no War Axe, so it's so powerful.
I'm gonna tip my Fedora if that happens, like, you know, if that Priest wins here. He has 2 Shadow Word Pains, actually.
Yeah.
1 Shadow Word Death in this deck.
That's a big deal. Shadow Word Pain's better than Shadow Word Death against Taunt Warrior, which is kind of weird, because usually Shadow Word Death is better against the control decks, but just not in this case. He also has a Curious Glimmer Root, which could find something pretty powerful. Like
what would be like the most powerful thing?
Execute, probably, just to be able to get through a Primordial Drake. Because that's the big problem for Priest. It doesn't die to Shadow Word Death or Shadow Word Pain. It's also just a good pressure card. There's no War Axe to kill it.
That 1 damage is gonna pile on. And the Glimmer Root is already in hand. So now Shadow Word Pain would actually be super crucial. So I can imagine Naiman playing the Shadow Vision for that Shadow Word Pain.
No.
Think so?
I think you're okay giving your opponent extra cards because you know you're going to be able to Shadow Word Pain something like a Direhorn Hatchling or a Alley Armorsmith later on, and the tempo makes up for the fact that you give them 2 extra cards. But that's the debate he's going through right now, what we just talked about.
Also, there's another fact that you can just use Hero Power Distant to draw a
your
card
own card, right?
Yes.
Yeah, to kind of equalize it. So it's like your opponent's getting ahead 1 card.
Yeah.
Or you can even do the tempo of the Curious Glimmer Root so you can have more pressure. There's 3 very good options here for Naiman. It looks like he's going to forgo going for the Shadow Word Pain, not go for the tempo of the Curious Glimmer Root, but take kind of the midway line where he gives his opponent additional cards, but also tries to equalize it by healing his own minion. Now he's debating whether or not he wants to push for 1 with the Northshire Cleric or kill off his opponent's Acolyte. The Acolyte isn't very threatening, so it might be worth just getting 1 additional face damage in.
It doesn't change much, right?
Every damage counts, but he is going to just clean it off.
What you do is that you play... No, actually makes no sense. No.
The Acolyte could be played again to threaten to get additional draws. The Tar Creeper could be played to just stop the minions on board from going face. Other than that, the Armorsmith doesn't die on board. I don't know. I tend to favor the Tar Creeper here.
even when it's like undervalued, if it's not fitting the mana curve like perfectly, in this case it's still like a Senjin.
Yeah,
So it's exactly the same, 4 mana in this situation.
Shadowward Pain's picked up to be able to push its way through. You could also ignore the Tar Creeper, as it doesn't contest any of your minions on board.
In those matchups, you should probably put Elise, Trailblazer, in your deck.
That's a good card for these kind of matchups, yeah.
Right? You just sacrifice 1 slot in your deck, and when you get that booster pack into your deck, you can play Shadow Visions to get more value and more mileage out of it.
Yeah, but I don't think Naiman's playing that. He's teched his decks.
So,
yeah, he's teched for anti-aggro. No, he does have the Elise in there.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
So yeah, he's
okay.
That is another reason why he didn't Shadow Visions for Shadowward Pain, right? He wants that Elise. He wants to be able to get additional packs. This is very winnable for him.
Okay. Well, let's hope he gets that Elise then.
Yeah.
That would be so fun to cast.
I think that's why he's drawing so much off Northshire Cleric, right? Like, he has these tempo plays he could have been taking, but instead he's just going for his own card draw. He's trying to find that Elise as soon as possible and just assemble crazy Unguro pack combos. Makes a lot of sense. Glimmerroot, Shadowward Pain most likely this turn. So this needs to be a card that's in your opponent's deck, so execute. And that's the best one really to get. This is going to give him an answer for Primordial Drake, which cannot be answered by Shadowward Death, Shadowward Pain, or Dragonfire Potion. So having that answer for Primordial Drake is so sick for Priest. It's like the most painful card Priest has to deal with.
One Shadowward Pain was used.
Right.
PF knows there's a second one and the Shadow Visions, but at the same time the pressure is not really that big. So it doesn't really matter what happens here.
The Bookworm comes down. Elise is also picked up, so we're going to see a bunch of Unguro packs. This Priest is just running over this Taunt Warrior. And look at how much damage these minions get in. He cut War Axe from his deck, and he has not been able to answer Northshire Cleric since the beginning of the game. Galaka Crawler's pushed for like 14 damage now. Yeah. Like, it's absolutely insane.
It's 21 damage from a 1-drop and 2-drop.
Yeah. Just because he didn't have the War Axe to be able to cleanly answer it.
Actually less, sorry, because it's that was turn 6 for Naiman, so he had 5 turns of attacking, so that's 15 damage so far. But still, when you think about it, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And still on board.
Yeah, and it's been drawing cards as well.
Yeah.
Being unable to shut down the card draw engine is really big. We gotta ask him, did he cut the Fiery War Axe on purpose, or did he forget it?
Yeah, we need to ask him.
We need, because I get some of the logic behind it, but it still seems very questionable to me. I want to understand that one a little bit more.
It's one of those decisions that either make total sense, or
yeah, it's either like the most genius thing you've ever heard, or it's a misplay, right? It's one of those fancy play syndrome in deck building. No Shadowward Death for Naiman here. He's thinking if he wants to use the Execute to try and push. It's really scary to use the Execute here because there's a potential Primordial Drake comes down. He is going to be using the Execute, though, to pave his way through. If Primordial Drake comes down, though, it doesn't really answer any of his board. And he has a bunch of big minions that can ram into it. Not too bad.
Brawl, okay.
And Armorsmith always wins the brawl, so this is fantastic.
Yeah. Historically speaking, I don't think I have seen any other outcome.
So you can Dirty Rat and Brawl this turn, pulling a minion from Naiman's hand, getting it killed in the crossfire as well.
And I think that this is the turn when you need to play Dirty Rat because the Priest has so much value in Battlecry minions or synergy cards that just getting a random minion... Basically, there's only one minion that you don't want to see, and that's the Ooze.
Sure.
Other than that, you're fine with every other outcome.
Yeah.
Killing a Draconid Operative, a Bookworm, Galaka Crawler. Okay, maybe not every single one, but it's decent.
That's the one you want to see. You're able to take out the Operative, deny your opponent from gaining value from your deck, and he's going to gain 1 additional armor with the Armorsmith taking an attack this turn. And also setting up for his Primordial Drake on the following turn, in case the 3-2 were to live. Galaka Crawler lives. That's not a bad outcome for him. Not a lot of pressure.
So Naiman can just play the Ooze this time because basically what he The only play that will be for the ooze is sulfur as weapon.
Which is coming out pretty soon. The quest is starting to get its way done, but I agree with
pressure,
you.
right?
I think you need pressure, right? If you play Primordial Drake, that's 4 damage worth of pressure. If you play both of the minions, you get 6 damage worth of pressure, and you start emptying your hand size, so you have the ability to Shadow Visions into Ungaro Pack. But Naiman wants to play the bigger minion. I think this is a mistake. This really opens him up to Whirlwind Execute effects.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, Primordial Drake comes down here.
And that stops the damage.
That stops all the damage in his strikes, yeah.
Interesting.
If you went with the 2/3 drops, trade both 3 drops in, play your Primordial Drake, clear it away.
There's the pack!
There's the pack, though. This is going to be pretty hype. Able to get a bunch of additional resources. You got to worry about hand size a little bit. He has
You need to
7
coin it out
cards.
first.
Yeah, he's got to coin it out. And then hopefully he gets something for his sake that he can actually play with it.
Legendary! Well, there's a
King Mosh.
Tarim, King Mosh,
Yeah.
and Glacial Shard. Actually, that's really big.
It's not bad. You can play it alongside the Nyria, right? That's what he's got in his hand? Viridian Longneck?
Yes, exactly. Good one.
That's his card.
There's a lot of players like that, like Device in CSGO and Astralis.
Okay.
He has like the same neck.
Yeah. Okay.
The Hatchling is not bad as well. It's a big minion. It's hard to remove.
Adds another big minion to your deck. It's not bad. He can activate the quest this turn by just playing the Curator, but that means he's doing anything to the board. But I think you're okay with that. I think you just want to get the big taunt minion out there. Cycle things out of your deck. Get closer to finding second Brawl, because you know you're going to need that pretty soon.
Well, the Greater will count towards the quest, and at the same time, I think we'll get in 1 Primordial Drake.
Yep. But do you play the Sulphurous this turn is the big question.
No, I don't think so. The Acolyte of Pain this turn might actually give you just wider access next turn. Interesting.
The crazy part about this now is he has no more life gain. That's 11 health is all he's got for the rest of the game, right?
I mean, he has Ally Armorsmith and an Armorsmith.
Ally Armorsmith and a regular Armorsmith.
So what he can do is just keep the Whirlwind for the Armorsmith to be dropped and gain some life from it. But it's at the same time, it's not like, you know, you can just count on it every single time because it is a synergetic effect. So you need a wide board, and it's pretty hard to get a wide board right now, especially with the hand size you have. So if you count on the Acolyte to draw cards and need to sacrifice the Whirlwind anyway, that means you lose the synergy with the Armorsmith.
It's a bit tricky. And the weapon is gone. Priest more armor than Warrior. No efficient way to get through that 4-attack minion, though. There is another Ungaro Pack in the deck for Naiman, so he has some freedom with how he can, you know, commit resources because he knows there's another one coming.
And he has another Shadow Vision as well.
Yeah, he potentially has 2 more packs. He draws things in the right order. The long neck gets to come down. Delve. Could have went for additional health. Chooses to go with stealth. Wants to try and guarantee a minion sticks around. Well, you can start off the turn with Acolyte Whirlwind to try and clear a little bit of the way for this Rag Shot to actually do something. You can't really afford for too many things to be sticking. So close to dead here at only 11 health. He's got 2 Sleep with the Fishes left in his deck still. Those could come in handy to kind of pave the way for this. You know there's 2 more Ungaro Pack cards, but other than that, there's not too many minions that you expect to be in Naiman's hand. So clearing the board, even just one time, is so valuable.
Okay, that's not terrible.
It's pretty good. I think you hero power first, and then gives you the most chances to hit a minion. You have 3 out of 4 targets are minions, and then you can execute whatever minion is left.
If you are worried about that stealth minion, it's better to execute first.
Right, but
Oh, well, that's unlucky.
I think he just wants to hit any minion.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares particularly the stealth one, but unable to make that connection happen, so... No dragon in the hand of Naiman, but his King Mosh.
That's not a dragon?
It's not a dragon. Yeah. Is it a...
It's a beast.
It's a beast, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's a dino beast.
Is it from Transformers, then?
King Crush is a beast, too.
Yeah, right.
Kind of a dragon. I mean, it's not really a dragon. It's a dinosaur.
It's a bird.
Dinosaurs are not dragons, right?
No, they're just big birds.
They're big birds. Dragons are or dinosaurs are birds, or dragons
Well,
are birds? Big bird's yellow.
Well, that's what I heard. Like, you know, the scientists are telling that the birds are like the, you know, the new dinosaurs.
The birds are new dinosaurs. Oh yeah, but the science and real life stuff. Yeah, maybe Big Bird is a dinosaur. Childhood's different than I thought. But he is able to find a dragon, so now Netherspite Historian is active.
Alright, I like the Deathwing just for funsies, but it's actually a decent card
good,
here.
Yeah. One execute's been used. It doesn't die to the rag shot, and it sets up lethal when it comes down, regardless of how many taunts are there.
Yeah.
The fishes. He needed this fishes. This can help him actually clear a lot of these minions off. Pairing it with the whirlwind.
If he whirlwinds and he needs to attack... Well, he's not able to kill the ooze if he uses the whirlwind, right? Because then he needs to use it before he attacks with the Acolyte of Pain, because he attacks with the ghoul first.
Right.
So the ooze is still alive.
Yeah, it allows him to get a rag shot in and play Harrison Jones this turn. The other way he could do it is he could whirlwind Primordial Drake, and that can clear everything except the ooze, but he doesn't get to squeeze in a rag shot, but he gets a 4/8 taunt in play, which is never too bad.
He can also just go for the Drake into Sleep with the Fishes.
Okay, that clears off everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
But is it worth it? Because then you have the Whirlwind.
You got Whirlwind to activate Execute, that's not bad.
And for the Armor Smith, right?
Right.
The synergy. So.
But you only get one draw of Acolyte this way instead of two. That's the big difference.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, because that's huge, only getting one draw of Acolyte.
That is really weird, because I thought that getting actually 2 draws from the Acolyte was so important. But okay.
But he gets to hold on to Whirlwind this way instead of...
Oh, no more packs. I mean, apart from this one.
Yeah, this is the last pack, yeah. You can't Shadow Visions into an additional pack anymore, but...
He might get Explore Angora.
Okay.
And then get Elise.
Wait, how's he getting Explore Angaro? Oh, from the pack?
Yeah, from the pack.
Sure, yeah. All right, this might not be the last pack. There could be additional packs. He is going to mill a random card from his deck, but he's okay with that. He wants to just get this pack generated. Find an answer to Primordial Drake within. He's got some synergies.
Blaze Caller, Spikerid Steed.
Yeah, that's a good one. He's got
that's like the best one out of it.
He's got a bunch of elemental synergies here.
Plum is like okay because it just works with the Blaze Caller. That's about it.
There's only one Execute left, so if he can get Execute used up on like even just the, you know, the Mammoth, then he can just slam Deathwing and win.
It's the year of the Mammoth. You need to play it.
Yeah, it could be it, man. I wouldn't hate it. It doesn't allow... Oh, that's the worst card he could mill, yeah. Primordial Drake is a dragon. It does not die to Dragonfire Potion. It does die to King Mosh, though, right? King Mosh kills all injured minions. There's some sick King Mosh value. King Mosh is what, like a 9/7? So then it contests the Alley Armor Smith very well. Sets up a target that PF probably wants to execute. One thing's for sure, you don't Deathwing.
Yeah,
you definitely have too many good cards in your hand that
especially
you don't
when you use a pack last turn.
Yeah. You could go for Fireplume Spikeridge Steed. It sets up your elemental synergies for the next turn. You could use the Fireplume's Battle Cry to damage the Alley Armor Smith. Set up for the better King Mosh. He is just going to go with the King Mosh this turn. It's the first play that jumped out to me. Just a lot of value. Sets up your opponent to want to execute, and as soon as they execute, you just get them.
There's still the hero power that can just kill it, right?
There is, yeah. It's the 50-50 on that, right?
That's super crucial for PF right now, and
Yeah.
it didn't happen. So the execute needs to be played.
Not playing around Deathwing. If he doesn't execute it, he can play around Deathwing. Since both Shadow Word Pains and one Bookworm were used, there is potential if there's not the second Bookworm. But he is going to use it there. Now he's going to have a Harrison Brawl to try and beat the Deathwing if Deathwing comes out. So Naiman still might not commit the Deathwing. He might be too afraid of the Brawl plus something.
He has so much value in his hand. Doesn't
I know.
really matter that much, right? For
Yeah.
now.
He can be patient. Sets up his elementals, just taking his sweet old time with it.
And the Plume is actually pretty decent in this situation.
It is questionable how much time he actually has left, though. Because if you get hero powered a few times, then suddenly Deathwing's 50-50 to lose the game.
The Druid and Brawl is actually really insane
Yeah, yeah,
in this case.
no kidding.
Another Shadow Vision.
Not too many good cards remaining that it can find. The pack's already gone. Stone Elemental guy. Can get some 2-3 taunts.
I like playing the Nephis Spider he's throwing in because it just plays around the hero power.
Nixie is really good. We've seen 2 Ravaging Ghouls, 1 Whirlwind. That is all the Whirlwind effects from PF.
That's a fantastic play for the next turn.
Yeah. There's also Alexstrasza, though, that can set you up outside of a one-shot rag range.
But then it's not proactive.
It is not proactive. It's very defensive, for sure.
Because this turn he plays Blaze Caller, right?
He's taking the Alexstrasza for the heal.
Oh, he goes for the Storm Ornament. Okay, it's not Sentinel, sorry. All right.
Yeah.
So interesting to see Spirit Wolves in another card.
I guess, yeah. It's a card that doesn't actually see play in Elemental Shaman, because the Blaze Caller, the neutral option, is so much more powerful than the class option. Which I think is because if the class option was really powerful, it would make Stonehill Defender too busted in Elemental Shaman.
Yep. Alexstrasza being put out of the deck, actually out of the hand. Still kind of lucky for PF because it wasn't Deathwing.
Yeah. Hey, it's hitting rag shots all day. He really needs to be just connecting 3 to the face really quick, though.
The Mammoth has 10 HP, right? Or 11?
10 HP, yeah, the Mammoth. The Giant Mastodon, I think, or something it's called. Not a card you play all the time. But
I think that's the play if you just want to play around the hero powers, right?
I think so, but he goes with the... doesn't want to break his elemental chain, just launches 5 to the face.
Oh, there
Sets
was one
up
more
lethal,
goal. Okay.
which is why he's doing it. If there's no taunt from PF, then Naiman has lethal if the rag shot goes face, because he has the Spike Ridge Steed to push for the additional damage.
Oh man,
Ooh, that's a good one.
PF is mad with those shots.
Yeah, he's just dunking them. But Naiman can clear the board yet again. Clearing the board, though, he's going to be taking the rag shot to the face.
Well, he can play Power Word Shield and then play Dragonfire Potion.
He's still got to connect 1 more point of damage on the...
Well, he can heal back
Ah. Okay, yeah.
the Dark Reaper, right?
Sure. And then he's got a 1/1.
Which is not bad.
Which, I mean, it could eat a rag shot.
Yeah.
That's all you need, really. But other plays than that, he could just Power Word Shield to try and find something else to do. He could even just try and land the Spike Ridge Steed. There's no executes, so getting the health of that minion up.
That's not bad. He can get also Potion of Madness,
Okay.
so he can kill at least the 1/4. Sorry, not kill. Well, he can actually kill it because then he can attack into it first, right? And that would be one option. But I like this as well.
Yeah, just set up the Spike Ridge Steed. Set up a real big, annoying minion. Then he's got Priest of the Feast, Shadow Visions for heal, so he's got a lot of different directions he can go with it in the following turns. Not a good card for PF here.
That's one of the cards that should be a
War Axe, yeah. He
Yes,
cut
exactly.
both of the War Axes and put it into Arc Reapers. But, connecting to that face, 2 more shots and he's got it. Unless Priest of the Feast has something to say about it.
Probably will have to. Not this turn.
Maybe this turn. It's
Well,
not
if you go for the Shadow Vision, then you're trying to get Shadow or Pain. I think there's still one in the deck.
I think they both got used, but
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I think both Powered Shields got used too. You're probably getting another like Potion of Madness. There's not
Shadow
very many
Word-
spells.
No, Power Shield.
There might be a Powered Shield. There might be one power. It's like Powered Shield, Potion of Madness is all that's really left. So, but yeah, that's why I'm saying you might want to go with the Priest of the Feast now because you never know when you're going to have a Potion of Madness target, and you have one now.
Let's see what are the options.
Yeah,
Oh, never mind.
just Potion of Madness. So, could have used the. He wants to push 1 face damage for some reason.
Okay, interesting. I mean, that makes sense because it doesn't die next turn, and then he can use another Shadow Word.
He wants to
Potion
get
of
max
Madness.
healing out of it,
Yes.
for sure. That makes sense.
Now he has a better target, but did he use the card from the deck or from the Shadow Word Vision? Shadow Word Vision from the Vision. I think he actually used it from the Vision. So that tells PF that there's still 1 Potion of Madness in the deck.
Right, yeah.
So playing the Bloodhoof Brave might be actually a good option right now.
He knows there's Shadow or Death, and he knows there's Potion Madness, and he can't play around both of them.
Either this or that.
He also knows there's a Dragonfire Potion too, so committing too many resources at once is scary. Priest, man. He's doing it. So he's going to play out the Ghoul
That
here.
Golaka Crawler, man.
The Galaka Crawler, that's been the MVP. The Galaka Crawler pushed so much damage. No War Axe.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's here just to bask in the glory of the victory, right? So you can heal up your Priest of the Feast, Dragonfire Potion, clear the entire board, push for 5, setting your opponent down to 3.
That's an amazing turn.
Yeah.
After that, you can still play a Golaka Crawler because there's no more brawls. There are no more brawls, and Sleep with the Fishes was used already as well. And
There might be one more Sleep with the Fishes.
yes, but then it doesn't kill the Golaka Crawler anyway.
Right, right. And the Galaka Crawler can get close to finishing. He's thinking about using Shadow or Death to try and heal himself more and push with the Potion of Madness for an additional 1. Or even, he could even just trade this
Yeah,
off.
I think
Set
he
it an
trades.
even bigger board. Nope.
Nope.
He's getting in there. His last cards, like he knows he's going to be drawing a Potion of Madness within the next 2 draws. So he's just really keeping this Stonehill Defender around. It's really just playing for both teams right now. It's been Potion of Madness twice. Confused Stonehill Defender.
And the Golaka Crawler eats an 8, which is the best target for Naiman to be killed. Apart from his face, of course. In this case, when he already healed so much, getting the damage to the face would probably be the best option, but it's still fine. And there's the 3rd damage.
Yeah. But this 6/9 is a little bit of a problem. Wait, does he have lethal? He takes the Stonehill Defender, pokes it in, then goes in with the 3/6, then plays Dragonfire Potion, and then connects for face with the Stegodon for lethal. Boom.
And he is back to 30 HP, so it's a perfect win.
Perfect lethal. Man, that Stonehill Defender. That was on Naiman's team for 3 turns.
When you think about it, the way he played the first Potion of Madness allowed him to
Oh, yeah.
win the game right now.
That was really sick. His whole setup with how he did that one specific turn.
Yeah. That was actually amazing. Like, the fact that he knows, like, he has the info, there's no fear War Axe, allowing him to play turn 1 Cleric into turn 2 Golaka
He
Crawler.
kept Galaka Crawler off the mulligan because he knew
Yeah.
there was no War Axe. That's the most insane thing.
And then the Potion of Madness, like the first one that we were confused about, actually made so much sense when you think about it.
When we saw the whole game plan lay out, how he was like keeping his opponent's Stonehill defender alive on purpose so that he could get value out of the Potion of Madnesses that he knew were coming. That was
he
sick.
played 3 Potion of Madness against a Taunt Warrior.
Against its 1 minion that he had. He just made sure he kept that minion alive. That's actually hilarious.
Yep. Yeah. Actually sick. So, 2-2. Who would have thought that
I would not have thought that it would have went 2-2.
The Mage and the Priest already secured a win. And those were the worst possible matchups for Naiman. I mean, maybe not matchup, but worst possible decks to get the wins from.
Those were the tricky ones. Now it's a lot easier, because now he's got kind of mirrors left. He's got his Taunt Warrior against PF's Taunt Warrior, and Naiman has his Control Paladin up against PF's Control Paladin. Obviously, a little bit of different tech choices here and there, but it's anybody's game now. And we're going to be going into the Paladin mirror. So what are the big difference makers between their decks? I know Naiman has N'Zoth, and I believe PF does not even have N'Zoth. I think he has a little bit lighter of a Paladin deck even.
Let me check.
Yeah, so if we look at Naiman's, Naiman has the Infested Tauren in there. He has Karen Bloodhoof. He has N'Zoth. And he has double Stonehill Defender, double Rallying Blade, no True Silvers, double Stampeding Kodo. So what you'd expect to be in a N'Zoth Paladin, except for the fact that he has Rallying Blade instead of True Silver.
Exactly.
And what about PF?
1 Forbidden Healing, so that's a common line here. 2 Pyromancers, of course. 2 Consecrations, 2 True Silver Champions.
All right, so
Harrison Jones.
Harrison's pretty big. Allowing the card draw off killing your opponent's Tyrion is super huge, but the biggest thing he's got, he's got Ivory Knight and a second Primordial Drake instead of Karen Bloodhoof and N'Zoth. So a little bit less threats. So
and there's no way of decreasing the amounts of threats from Naiman here.
Right, you can't like hex the Tyrion, nothing like that. So you will have to deal with both of them.
Or even more.
Or even more if Stonehill Defender is being generous today.
Or the Hydrologist.
Or the Hydrologist, allow you to get Getaway Kodo or Redemption. It can be a difficult matchup. I think Naiman's deck list is slightly favored in this matchup.
I would have
his first favorite matchup of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the N'Zoth on its own. Like, to be honest, even not the N'Zoth, but just the minions with Death Rattle effects are so powerful in this matchup.
Sure.
Especially when you need something to stick on the board for that crucial turn 6 Spike Steed.
Yeah, yeah. Karen does a good job at sticking around for that. Coin Kodo can come out to try and clear this minion. Usually you want to save Kodo for the Doomsayer, but it is an option here. He's going to take a little bit of a weaker option just to try and be able to hold that for a better resource. Yeah.
It makes sense because the only card that would actually kill the Sen'jin would be a second copy of the Blade.
Right.
That's not that likely. Consecration doesn't do anything. The Spike Steed is still 1 turn away. So I like this more passive play because that allows him to use even if he wants to use the Kodo, he will just use it next turn to kill the 2/2 out of the Tauren.
Yeah. He's going to have a Kodo target in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can always just play True Silver Champion on turn 5 instead of 4 because it still gives you 2 attacks instead of just using twice your True Silver Champion.
And the big benefit is you get to save the coin for Tyrion. Getting that guy out quickly is one of the ways that you win when you have a lower value deck than your opponent. When you have less value in your deck, oftentimes tempo is a huge deal. Wow. Naiman going to be using this to try and secure the Spike Ridge Steed for the following turn.
Such a huge investment when you think about it.
Yeah, the equality.
It's like a Frostbolt in this case, but it had so much potential.
Right. Consecrate coming out now. PF gets to clear the entire board. He knows that Naiman's trying to set up for Spike Ridge Steed. That's why he goes for the equality, the Consecrate instead of the Kodo there. He gets to play the Secret, though, which can kind of stop any development play from Naiman. And Spike Ridge Steed cannot come out any longer. So that equality investment kind of wasted a little bit there.
Yep, kind of whiffed, but it was worth the risk, I think.
Okay.
Now the read on the Repentance as well. Interesting because both players are running Kodos.
Yep. Both players are playing the matchup super aggressively for tempo. They just want to be ahead on board. I take it they've tested this matchup and figured out the best way to win is not trying to take it to the late game, but actually just pulling ahead on tempo. He's not going to be shutting down any Spike Ridge Steed this turn. He could have done something with Wild Pyromancer to shut down the Spike Ridge Steed that he kind of knows is there, but chooses just to go for the value play this time and coin out the Curator instead.
You were speaking about coining out the Tyrion, but in this case, I don't blame him for playing this guy instead, because he knows that when the Spike Ridge Steed is going to get played, it's still okay against the board. Like, it doesn't die. Sorry, it dies, but at least it takes one minion alongside it, right? And you have a way of developing the board next turn with a 2-drop and a 5-drop, an example. Even the Wicker Flame is not that bad next turn.
It's not horrible. It's not horrible. The Steed is coming out. PF can answer this with the True Silver Champion if he wants to, set up for a really solid Kodo. Could also just try and develop into it. Yeah, I think it's just a nice, clean True Silver turn. Gonna discover his secret first.
Discovering the secret is always great because you can just expect what to do next turn.
Snap picks Redemption, wants to get that Redemption Tyrion synergy happening. Such a powerful synergy in the matchup because Paladin decks don't have a very easy time about trying to kill things over the top. The second Spike Ridge Steed is super good here because you can get your minion outside of Stampeding Kodo range. And it's a 4/12.
Requires a quality then, most likely. Especially after you play Ragnar's and just heal it.
Yeah, it sets up for the Rag Light Lord the following turn to heal it too. It's crazy. It doesn't use your mana quite that efficiently though. So the options he has like, you could honestly just play Curator this turn if you wanted to guarantee the draws off of it. You could play the Spike Ridge Steed to set up the big minion for Light Lord. You could just play Light Lord.
Yeah, I like Light Lord to be honest.
Okay, why is that?
Because then you can follow up on turn 9 with the Curator into Hydrologist to maintain like good board development. At the same time, you get the secret for the upcoming turn, and you already know what to do. And you might just get value out of the Ragnar's immediately, right?
Yeah, well, the weirdest thing about this play is it plays perfectly into Primordial Drake, which you know PF has in his hand.
That is true.
Yeah, so that's the awkward part from Naiman's line here of the Curator. I don't fancy it that much because your opponent gets to play Primordial Drake and swing and clean up your Curator just fine.
Oh, second Tyrant.
That's really good.
This is why you play this card in this deck. I mean, the Stonehill Defender, right?
Yeah, maybe that was the logic. He was just like, you know what, I'm just going to rip Tarim off of the Stonehill Defender next turn.
Totally makes sense.
And just super punish the Primordial Drake.
First Tyrion.
That's
we
tough
saw
to
the
beat.
counter.
Oh, he's got the Harrison Jones.
Oh,
now.
okay,
There we
never
go.
mind then.
But the Tyrion comes back to life.
So it might actually make sense for Naiman just to not kill it.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to kill it. But then if you don't kill it, you start playing into equality clears, and your opponent's able to get this huge board swing.
Such an awkward situation.
Yeah.
What else can you do? No secret will actually help you with this situation. No. Actually, Gateway Kodo wouldn't be that bad. You can stall and not develop the board that much.
Getaway Kodo's pretty good, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, those are horrible.
Are off. He has gotten this secret spread like every time when he's played Hydrologist. He's had to pick Repentance a lot.
That is really awkward.
He's going to put a giant taunt in the way, try and make sure this Tyrion doesn't get too much work in. Even bumps into it to try and play around Aldor Peacekeeper and equality a little bit. So PF wants to try and develop the board, but he doesn't want to develop things that can die before the Tyrion. One equality has been used, so any minion that has a decent amount of health and doesn't have taunt should be fine to develop here. You could even Stampeding Kodo and pass to try and slow down the game even longer. But it doesn't really make any progress on getting through this Sunkeeper Terran. He could just give away the Redemption this turn. Swing in with the Tyrion, swing in with his weapon, and then play like 2 Stampeding Kodos, try and hit.
He still has Peacekeepers, right? So those Kodos might actually be super important.
Well,
I like this. No attacks. Basically 50-50 for the Tyrion.
Yeah, and he's trying. Even if the Tyrion doesn't get healed, it's not that big of a deal because
even if you get Redemption on the Ragnaros, it's still okay.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
Naiman does have the ability to take out both Tyrions in one turn right now. By trading in the Silverhand Recruit, kills the first Tyrion. Tyrion comes back to life with the bubble. You can trade in the Hydrologist, then trade in, you know, the Sunkeeper Terran, or use a weapon or something. So now he's not having to face down 2 Ashbringers, because then he just uses the Harrison Jones to remove the second Ashbringer.
Well, okay, because he can't use it right now to not overdraw.
He does have, he has 9 cards in his hand, so he's got to play one thing before he over.
So he can play Repentance and Blade?
Yeah.
And then use Harrison Jones.
Yeah, or Consecrate, or, yeah, Repentance and Blade works better, because then you get 2 cards out of your hand. But Wild Pyromancer, Repentance, pop the bubble, there you go.
He's able to kill the Ragnaros as well, which is huge. You can't allow the Ragnaros to get value on his own face. I mean, not on the face of his character, just on the face of the Ragnaros.
Right, you can't let Rag heal itself. Too much value within that. So he does have to allow 1 charge of PF's Ashbringer to be able to get value, because he can't squeeze out the Harrison Jones in that line of play. But he's still going to be able to draw 2 off of it and essentially heal for 10, which isn't too bad. Kodo is a 50-50 to clear something important. Half the time you get the Stegodon, half the time you get the Silverhand Recruit. There's no way he can really sure up that Kodo to be able to hit the correct target easily. You don't really want to double Kodo, because Aldor Kodo is a powerful combo that you have access to right now. Gets there.
Gets some Repentance value.
Yeah.
Now he needs to kill the Pyromancer. Not really, but it's so awkward now, because I feel like you would like to develop the Stonehill Defender as soon as possible, but at the same time you don't really want to use the swing of the Ashbringer on any of those minions, but you need to kill the Pyromancer.
Do you need to? What are you afraid of?
Well, it's not about being afraid of, but just losing the 3-1 when there's a pressure, when your opponent is at 12.
Well, he loses his 3-1 too.
I'm not sure about it. I feel like I would like to maintain the Kodo on board. Alright, the Harrison Jones this time gets that Ashbringer. And another Terran.
Yeah,
Those are
even
some
though,
swingy games, man.
yeah, even though Naiman's at a much lower health total, I feel like he's in the driver's seat right now. He's kind of controlling the game. He's got the card advantage and the resource advantage.
And he still has Nzoth in his deck. But he didn't play
He has
single Death Rattle
Nzoth,
apart
he has Tyrion, he's got Sunkeeper, he has Rag Lightlord. PF
And
is
Karen,
used.
right?
And Karen left for Naiman. While PF's resource count, PF has... Lightlord's been used, that's gone. Tyrion's been used, that's gone. He's got, like, both Primordial Drakes are gone. And Spike Ridge Steed is, like, the biggest card in PF's deck remaining. He is out of gas. The biggest card, I guess, then, is the Grime Street Enforcer in his hand. And that is the largest threat he has remaining.
That's so sad.
Yeah. And Naiman's got 11 health. So even though he's got only 11 health left, he has weathered the storm. He is surviving.
Well played by Naiman with that Tyrion sequence. That he didn't go for the kill
set up
immediately.
for to be able to kill it twice in one turn, so Ashbringer would overwrite Ashbringer.
So basically he gained an ooze for 0 mana.
For 0 mana, yeah. It's definitely a very strong play.
Otherwise, that 11 health could have been actually be the end of him. With that second Ashbringer, if he would be just allowed to swing to his face a few times, that could have been the end of the game. But now he's in the driver's seat, as you said, and Oomph will be, PF will be desperate. The equality on the board, that wasn't really like a normal target for a brawl. Sorry, for equality, right? That's
he just wants to keep tempo. He knows he's out of gas. He knows he doesn't have threats left. He knows he has to finish the game right now. So he's just really scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to assemble anything that he can to maybe make it enough to get there. And Naiman's just probably going to heal like a lot.
I think like this is one of the times when it can actually just play Doomsayer into Forbidding Healing.
Well, you're afraid of the Kodo, maybe.
But if you heal already alongside the Doomsayer, and your opponent just gets out that Kodo, that means he's overextending.
Well, yeah, which would be great if we had the equality, but we had to use the equality earlier for tempo.
But PF doesn't know that.
Well, I mean, he knows we used it, but he doesn't know we have it. Yeah, sure.
Right? So he won't be expected to Naiman will not expect like another huge minion. Like maybe the Kodo, but not anything else.
I'm too afraid to do that. I think I agree with Naiman. Just get the Light Lord out there because you got to try and slow PF down, try and stop his tempo unless we had the equality. Because PF's going all in regardless. He knows he has no more threats left. So I think it's super scary. This is a good Aldor Kodo push if he wants to go for it.
My God.
Yeah, you could also go for Sunkeeper Terram. It's a very solid Sunkeeper Terram push.
I like the Terram, I think, more. You can develop the... I mean, you gain the value out of the Divine Shield. Yeah. Still push for free damage. I like that a lot.
Solid. Yeah. Naiman's not out of the woods yet. He's almost stabilized, but... he still has to be able to beat this Terram. He has to still be able to beat this Grime Street Enforcer.
Well, this is a good card, but it's kind of slow. The card will not allow him to get the tempo back pretty soon.
He could go for...
Karen Doomsayer?
He could go for Karen double Doomsayer. Try and guarantee that it goes off.
That wouldn't be that bad if he had Nizov already in his hand.
Right, yeah, that's the issue, huh?
If he goes for the Primordial Drake, it doesn't really kill anything, but at the same time it sets up a Consecration next turn for the free ones, unless they will be used to trade with the Drake. It's about how much do you predict your opponent, what are the odds of your opponent having a response to a big taunt, right? The response would be Equality, Peacekeeper, Kodo, or just Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
But just Peacekeeper is fine. Because then...
because the 1 health minions still die.
Yeah, exactly.
He's thinking about Peacekeeper and what? Double Doomsayer? 1 Doomsayer is kind of scary. There are Kodos available for PF.
I mean,
so, yeah.
This is 7 damage on board anyway, so 1 Kodo still is kind of awkward.
Could miss. Right? See? He's got the extra Silverhand recruits, so the Kodo a third of the time is unable to clear.
So no, you Kodo first.
Yeah.
But if you miss...
then you just go face.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't clear. Or you could try and go for an equality play. It's a little shady.
I think that's the play that Naiman would like to see in this situation.
Yeah. He'd love to see equality.
PF then doesn't want to play into it, right?
If equality comes out, Naiman has the punish with the Primordial Drake to clean up PF's board anyway.
Goes for the 66%. Got it.
But this does break up the Kodo Aldor combo to remove a big minion. And allowed Naiman to kind of squeeze out 4-4 with the stats of development.
That's actually super interesting because if you will play the Primordial Drake on anything else big that it requires equality, he gains equality. Because his opponent will use equality for his Consecration.
Yeah.
Alright, well, he is drawing the big guns, but they're not so impactful when your opponent is already ahead on the board.
Yeah, Primordial Drake might just be even stronger.
Kills the 1-1 and...
you can use your 1-1 to then kill the Wicker Flame.
Yeah, and attack with the Peacekeeper into Tarim and just leave it as a 1-2. It's not really the best option.
I'd probably just hold the Peacekeeper, but your opponent only would have 7 power in play, so they'd need to find additional damage to be able to get through the Primordial Drake, which is why I like it. But other than that, Karen Consecrate has a similar effect. Or there's just play Tyrion, because it's good.
All right.
Spikeridge Steed is a great card to find in this situation. Can really help him get enough damage to make through.
At some point you need to get the value of the Enforcer. So Enforcer after you use the Spikeridge Steed is amazing. So also the placement from PF will be right now to benefit from the Enforcer as much as possible. So I assume if he plays the Peacekeeper, it will be put next to the Kodo. And that sets up a really nice next turn.
And not to mention just how powerful this Kodo is on the board. 5/8. Okay.
Oh, that changes a lot, because now Naiman knows that he needs to play his Death Rattle minions as soon as possible to seal the game. But he needs to draw out the equality as well.
He also has the Terram here, which is kind of appealing.
You think so?
It's not bad, right? You're able to get rid of one of your opponent's minions. Create decent trades for you. You know, you're debuffing a 5/8 down to a 3/3.
And you're buffing a 1/2 into a 3/3.
Yeah.
And if you play just the Tyrion and the Hero Power, your opponent needs to sacrifice the 1/2 into the Divine Shield, and then either sacrifice Consecration or attack from Truce of a Champion, or just sacrifice two minions, basically. Right? But it's a 5/8, so it doesn't die.
Yeah, it gets to value trade into the Tyrion a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate. Then you just get to play in Azoth, though, and get more Tyrions, though. Question is that enough life to stabilize? And Naiman says no, he's too vulnerable to dying if he goes for the Tyrion line. He needs to try and clean up this board more.
Oh my
a
God.
second Spikeridge Steed that is powerful. Because otherwise the trades on board against the Sunkeeper Terram are not very good for PF. So now he can buff one of his minions up to be able to make the trades quite favorable for him. He could even utilize the second Aldor to keep all of his minions alive. I like it. I think you go then Spikeridge Steed Aldor again. I think you want to diversify the death rattles, though, so I think you put the Spikeridge Steed on the Aldor that's on the board. You could go for a tempo equality here, though. Equality into Grime Street Protector. Clear the board, keep all of your minions alive.
And develop a 6/6 on board.
Right, a 6/6 taunt, which then stops weapons from being able to clean up your minions.
So your opponent only has a Pyromancer, spells combination, or Consecration.
Yeah, those were like the two lines, I think. He's going to end up putting the Spikeridge Steed on the Kodo again. So that is a Kodo riding 2 Kodos.
No, those are Stegodons.
Or Stegodons, yeah. A Kodo riding 2 Stegodons.
You know, it's like the Van Damme movie with Jack Norris, the advertisement. Didn't see that?
I didn't see that movie. What's it about? Kodos riding
It's
Stegodons?
like 2 trucks driving on a street, you know?
And there's a truck on the trucks?
No. There's like next to each other.
Okay.
And there's Van Damme or Chuck Norris on top of both of them.
Okay.
And they spread, and he makes like
the splits?
The split. It's kind of like that.
Kind of like that, yeah. It's Chuck Norris doing the splits on some trucks. That's what that minion is. I like it.
Right, some value for Naiman right now slows down the game a little bit. A little bit. That's the problem. That the little.
Yeah, it's just.
He has Infested Tauren in that in Zoth already. So next turn Zoth gives him both the Tyrion and the Infested Tauren, which stops a lot of damage. But it's not enough to maintain, I think, like board control, especially when your opponent didn't use a second equality yet. So in this case,
the thing is though, like PF is probably going to use the equality to try and push, and then Naiman responds with his equality, and then he can just slam N'Zoth, right? Like, I think Naiman's in a great spot. I'd say, like, how does PF push through this and close the game? PF's on a clock, too. He doesn't have the resources to beat Naiman right now. He is holding on to that equality very aggressively. He knows Naiman has an equality left. He wants to be the last player to use the equality. He needs to save it for the N'Zoth, for example. Well, yeah, Naiman could just clear this. Look at how clean that is. Well, it's not super clean.
Well, the Kodo is 5/8, right?
Yeah, you gotta punch the Kodo. You punch it with your face, you trade in the 3/3, and then you can equality consecrate. Because there's 2 Stegodons coming out of this bad boy.
If you equality first, then you just need to kill a 2/6.
2 2/6s.
Oh, you're right, 2 2/6s, you're right.
Yeah, there's 2 trucks.
I completely forgot about the double trucks.
I think Naiman might have also completely forgot about it, because he could have had an empty board here, and now there are 2 dinosaurs on it.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. Chuck Norris is gone, but the trucks are still there.
1 truck.
1 truck. Well, there's 2. Well, okay, now there's 1 truck.
He made no visible like reaction to the play, so I give him I give him the doubt that the benefit of the doubt that that was on purpose. But at the same time, the only reason why would you do that is just to get less damage by 1. If the Stegodon attacks into your face, that's less.
Yeah, because
less,
you're
right?
taking 4 either way this way. Because you have to weapon 1 Stegodon, and then a Stegodon attacks you, then you trade your 1/1 into the final Stegodon. So you get a clear board taking 1 less damage this way sometimes, unless your 1/1 dies. Then you're taking more damage.
I completely forgot about the Ivory Knight.
Yeah, that's definitely an out for PF where you could try and get some additional value that really helps. Dino Size, I think, is the best card you can get off the Ivory Knight.
And another Spike Ridge Steed is also
bad.
pretty damn good.
It's really good, yeah.
But the Dino Size is definitely better.
Oh, it's funnier and more value. He's going for the push. He's got 9, 10, 11 damage with the Consecrate. But, and he has the equality to help make its way through, but the Tyrion comes back with the bubble, which can stop everything. So N'Zoth does keep Naiman alive. So I imagine we see him trade into the 2/1 here, slam N'Zoth, pull back that Tyrion.
And Infested Tauren.
And Infested Tauren. And then we see... Oh, actually, the Wild Pyromancer from PF is the thing. It can knock off the bubble.
Equality first, then Pyromancer.
No, you go Pyromancer, Consecrate Equality, and that's lethal, right? No, because you can't get
minions
through
die.
The minions die, yeah. Harrison Jones is not immune to Equality. Right. So he is able to stay alive. How do you get through this?
You can just wait 1 turn, right? You can just play Ivory Knight, see what spells do you get.
Well, you don't want to wait because you want the Tyrion to be able to... I mean, you want the Harrison to be able to connect. Is there any way to get the Harrison to do anything? No, not really. If you can clear instead of Doomsayer, but you know your opponent has a Kodo left.
Well, you can go this way. Equality, Consecrate... No, because it still doesn't allow the Harrison Jones to connect. That was the Forbidden Healing after, right?
Yeah.
After the clear. That's awkward.
Whoa.
Interesting. So he keeps...
Okay.
Okay.
He gets the Ivory Knight developed this way. So now he's able to have a 4/4 out. True Silver could connect to the face. Damage? He got damage.
What? Oh, that's actually decent.
That sets up lethal again. Now he has the 11 that he needs to get through, if the Ivory Knight's able to connect for 4. But Naiman's been having this Forbidden Healing in his hand the entire game. Two cards remaining for PF. 2 cards remaining for Naiman, but PF is drawing first, so...
And also has the Hammer of Wrath, which draws a card.
Sure.
So the Ivory Knight did connect, but you can't
1
really...
damage off lethal here.
If there will be a second Kodo, a third Kodo,
A third
actually.
Kodo, yeah. Because he can Hammer of Wrath plus Consecrate the 1/4, and then swing True Silver to face, setting Naiman down to 1, but it's not enough to close the game.
But if he plays double Doomsayers and Consecrates, then Naiman has 5. He might not have enough damage to kill both Doomsayers.
Right.
And then you're able to connect the weapon to the face. So if your opponent doesn't have a way to kill both Doomsayers, doesn't have a way of healing himself, he might set up a lethal next turn.
I mean, it's worth a shot. You're always afraid, though, they could potentially just have Forbidden Healing or draw it. Naiman has 2 cards left. He's going to have 29 of the 30 cards remaining in his deck in his hand.
He goes for it.
So he knows there's a
Oh,
Kodo.
he went just for 1? No, for 2. Okay.
You got to go for 2 if it's going to accomplish anything. The final card remaining for Naiman. Consecrate can be used to clear off the entire board, maintaining your Karen.
Well, to be fair, that was his only out. And even if it's an out, the fact that Naiman did draw 29 cards out of his deck means that he has, even if he lacks the healing, he has a ways of killing the Doomsayers.
Healing, Consecrate, and Kodo all answer what PF's aggression is trying to do. So he needed one of those 3 cards to not be his very last card in his deck, which likely is to happen.
Yeah. Man, this match is only taking like 4 hours already.
He's just going to let the board go. He doesn't want to invest any of these resources. He says, you know what? Screw it. I get a Bane after this. Have your happy Doomsayers. Now I can use Consecrate to answer real threats. And the final threat, the final boss,
is not that big. I mean, it's big, but it's not aggressive.
There's no way for Naiman to kill it right now. But I'm hard-pressed to believe it's going to hit him for 20. Let alone 25. But
well, the fatigue is something that will happen.
And Wild Pyromancer, Consecrate, kill it, and that's the game. Naiman was just barely able to answer all the threats of PF, have the additional gas of N'Zoth in his deck to be able to close out the game. At one point here, there were positions where Naiman was down to 1 health from PF's damage in hand. So this was really close.
Was close, but it's not enough for PF to actually seal the game, and Naiman, after a grueling, I think, 40 minutes match,
It's a Paladin mirror.
Yeah.
Well, we have a Taunt Warrior mirror coming up, too.
Oh, sweet.
So, you know, it's going to keep going. Naiman has only his Taunt Warrior to win with. He is playing Fiery War Axe in his Taunt Warrior, which puts him at a disadvantage against PF's Taunt Warrior, I think.
Yes, because PF is running 2 additional taunt minions instead of the Fiery War Axe. That means he is more likely to finish that quest faster, if it makes sense, of course. Yeah. Because not always it makes sense, right? Sometimes you just want to armor up first.
Sure, yeah. Usually in the Taunt Warrior mirror, you just want to start shooting rag shots. But, yeah. So he's got that matchup, and I think PF's slightly favored in that matchup. And other than that, PF has his Paladin, which is also slightly favored against Taunt Warrior. So, Naiman is up in the series, and we've been saying it the whole time. Naiman's at a disadvantage, Naiman's at a disadvantage. Well, I'd say he's still at a slight disadvantage. So he's
but this time he's actually ahead, in the first time in the match.
He's ahead in points for the first time, yeah. Getting that Freeze Mage out of the way with 1 win, then getting the Priest out of the way with 1 win, 1 game each, that was pretty sick.
And he played those really well.
Yeah, he did. He did.
To be honest, PF is playing it really well as well. Like, both players are...
Somebody's got to lose.
Top-tier players. All right, so Naiman with the Warrior for the final, maybe, final game of the match. Well, PF doesn't go for the mirror yet.
He goes for the Control Paladin, which is not the best at killing decks, but it is really good at staying alive, which can run into scenarios where you do exhaust the Taunt Warrior out of resources and just get a wide enough board to outlast their hero power. But it's a little tricky. One of the things that he does really have going for him that he really needs to find, Stampeding Kodo. It's like the best card in the matchup. It's a 5-drop that's a 3/5 that comes down and kills a random Taunt Warrior minion most of the time.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. It can help you get them into scenarios where it's harder for the Taunt Warrior to complete the quest the way it wants to.
Naiman kept the entire hand, and I don't blame him. Having 2 Stonehill defenders already completes the quest in more than a half. And the Harrison Jones actually is important in this matchup because the Truce of the Champion takes some of your minions, to the grave.
Right, and having additional draw and additional taunts is the way to do it. You may even see him take just Public Defender to try and squeeze out taunts as fast as possible. But I wouldn't mind Squirming Tentacle. But I doubt we see him take Sogoth the Slitherer, because you cannot play Sogoth and Hero Power in the same turn, so it's a horrible minion for completing the quest.
And it's also pretty horrible against Peacekeepers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And against Equality is like not a big of a deal, right? So both players with 2 Stonehill defenders already. Okay.
That was a fast pick.
And in most situations, that's the fastest pick you can make.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sometimes you see players just like see the Tyrion there and just wait a little bit so they don't try and give away information.
I wouldn't blame them for doing that. It's actually important to not give the information on what's going to happen from that Stonehill defender.
Squirming Tentacle. So that's 2 taunts for Naiman. 2 out of 7 on the quest progress. He's thinking about whether or not he wants to bump into the Stonehill defender from his opponent. This would play around... It doesn't really play around True Silver that much because the True Silver still has a good target of the Squirming Tentacle. It sets up to try and... Not really sure. There's going to be 3 Tyrions for PF.
He snap picks just right away.
He's got a very good hand right now. It's going to be quite difficult for Naiman to race down 3 Tyrions.
And this match is so awkward, right? It's like you don't really want to attack, you play your minions, just stay back,
low
chill.
damage, high health taunts against low damage, high health taunts, yeah. But tries to set a Doomsayer here just to try and clean up the board. There's not really good opportunities for Doomsayer in the future, I guess, unless the board gets answered, so.
And this board for Naiman can actually deal with it, but then he needs to sacrifice the Whirlwind. I'm not sure if he wants to do that. Whirlwind is actually pretty decent against Divine Shields. So in this case,
I like it
right?
though. Like saving, you can cycle the slam and save your board. Your board's very valuable. Being able to continue pressuring your opponent. Yeah, I definitely like it. Slam, Whirlwind. Clear your opponent's entire board. The Dirty Rat's scary. Your opponent snap-picked 2 taunt minions off his Stonehill defenders. There's a big chance they're Tyrions. And it's going to cause the Doomsayer to go off now.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, the sequencing error there. You got to kill the Doomsayer first. I guess if it's a Tyrion, you don't want to kill the Doomsayer.
Yeah.
That's just a weird situation to be in, but...
So in this case, I don't blame just if PF would just attack.
Attack with the True Silver?
Yeah, he's going to play Tyrion in 2 turns.
Okay. I could see, yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay, I see it now. That makes sense. And yeah, PF sees it too. He doesn't miss much.
Although, if he wouldn't attack with the Truce of the Champion, then he would bait out a Harrison Jones.
Right, right. I don't think he... Yeah, I mean, Harrison Jones is going to get value. Like, there's 3 Tyrions. Harrison Jones will find 1 Ashbringer, right?
Unless Naiman would be out of gas, and he would need desperately a card, right? Then he would play the Harrison Jones just to get those
for
taunt
1.
minions.
Imagine Harrison Jones comes down, gets 1, and then PF gets 3 Ashbringers in. That'd just be hilarious.
Sometimes you just have those situations when you crave for cards and you just have nothing to play. And Public Defender appears.
Yeah, it's just so he can get the quest out as fast as possible. He's already at 5 out of 7 of the quest, looking to try and complete it in the next 2 turns. Public Defender might just be Kodo meat, though. Curator is able to start into that. So Naiman is very aware that there's a Tyrion, right? Because you don't swing on that first True Silver charge as PF unless you have Tyrion on 8.
Well, you can have also a second True Silver Champion.
Okay, that's true.
And you just want to not play into Harrison Jones, right?
Right.
So that might be the
all
reason.
All of the above, yeah. Well, these Stonehill Defender cards have been here since the early stages.
Man, those Fear Warwicks are so terrible.
I know.
I would rather have 2 Tar Creepers.
They would have completed the quest for him if he had the Tar Creepers, yeah. Oh, no, he is at the end of the quest. I miscounted one.
Don't worry about that. We need a counter. You know what? We need a permanent counter in Hearthstone for the quests, just to make it easier for casters.
It's not a great board for Tyrion, but...
I'm thinking about Primordial Drake.
Okay, why's that?
I'm just thinking.
Oh, just yeah, it does clear a lot of the board off, but it's really bad against your opponent's hero power because it's just a 4/8, and the 8 health lines up so perfectly against the rag shot power from Naiman.
You'll still have the 1/1 though on the board.
That's a big Dodo hit.
That swing was brutal.
Yeah, it's going really wide on the board for going the development of Tyrion. Yeah, now he can get another Tyrion.
Yeah, it's fantastic. At this point, he will probably just, with those 3 additional Ashbringers, he'll just swing probably 1.
1 each, yeah.
1 each, right?
That is a lot of brawls, Abel. You can't use the Sulphurous Hero Power and the Brawl, and I think you want to be trying to Hero Power it as often as possible. So yeah, I like just getting that Rag Hero Power ready. Just Sulphurous Hero Power, and then next turn try and Brawl Hero Power. Into Brawl Hero Power. Maybe.
Good shot.
Yeah, it allows him to push through damage. It's fantastic. He has a lot of weapon swings that he needs to go face with. That's 12, 16 damage worth of weapons that he needs to line up in time. So Tyrion number 1.
No redemption this time.
No. No redemption. Because you expect Brawl to come out, so the redemption would land on the Hydrologist, I think.
Wasn't the cutter played first?
Not totally sure. But not the Tyrion, which is...
yeah.
So you want to avoid doing it. You want to wait until a situation where you can get it more accessible to the Tyrion. And just make sure you hero power every turn, so he's not going to be playing the Acolyte this turn. Launch that hero power, try and kill his opponent. Now, PF needs to make sure he spaces out his Tyrions. He doesn't want the Ashbringers to remove Ashbringers.
But when it comes to Naiman, I feel like you rather have the 8 damage than the Acolyte of Pain on the board. The card was not really that important because you need to be just faster on the clock as soon as possible.
Try and get as much damage in as you can. Now here's the spot where you could go for Tyrion Redemption if you wanted. The risk is you overwrite the Ashbringer though, which is sad. We do see him go with Light Lord Redemption.
I like this a lot.
Why is that? Just because...
even if it plays into the hero power from Naiman, then it still gets you an 8/1 that is not easily killable unless your opponent sacrifices another card.
Yeah, they have to play either Ghoul or Whirlwind or base tank 8.
And
or
even if that happens, your opponent still neutralize at least one hero power. At least one, because you healed for it, right?
Yeah.
If it sticks to the board because your opponent is lacking the answers to the 8/1 Light Lord, then you get an answer to another swing from the hero power.
Or it heals itself, which would be even better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he swings face with the weapon first, testing for eye for an eye. He does not want to rag shot himself in the face.
Especially when he has no more options to just hero power up.
Yeah.
And the only ways of getting armor will be Armor Smiths and Ali Armor Smith.
So he is going to see that it is the Redemption. And he can answer that with Sleep with the Fishes, or a Whirlwind, or an Execute.
He goes for the Whirlwind, right? Yeah.
And the armor is really important since there is no life gain in the deck, so every bit of chip damage starts mattering. The only life gain is the Armor Smiths and the Alley Armor Smiths. You
yeah, those go like a Growlers, man.
Yeah. You want to make those combos happen when they can.
Another Tyrion made by Stonehill Defender, just to annoy Naiman a little bit more.
Right. PF still has the 3rd Tyrion in his deck.
And it's getting closer and closer to actually get that. 2 Pyromancers, 2 Consecrations. allow him to deal 5-7 damage to the board, basically, with one Pyromancer, of course.
Naiman needs to be able to outrace the Tyrion weapon. Right now, he dies to 4 Ashbringer swings, maybe even 3 plus, you know, whatever happens else on the board. So he kind of wants to be able to answer the Doomsayer and maintain development on board if possible. Thinking about even trading in Harrison Jones first for more armor. So he's going to gain an additional armor this way. Okay, now you just let the board go when the Rag Shot misses everything. So that's what he was doing. Sees where the Rag Shot goes first, and if the Rag Shot kills the Tyrion, maybe he tries to develop on this board, but if the Rag Shot goes face...
Oh, wait, what? Okay, so he values
he's the clock.
Yeah, interesting.
He needs these swings to try and set up lethal over 2 turns. So 6 plus 8 equals 14. The War Axe is 6. So he gets rid of Execute to try and increase his clock a little bit, which... It's risky against Paladin where they have Ivory Knight, they have Forbidden Healing. It seems like an expensive resource to just kind of throw out there like that. I am not a fan of the play.
Me neither. And a third Tyrion. Is it in a row?
It is 3 Tyrions in a row, I think, yeah. He may have had, I think he had 1 turn where he didn't play Tyrion in the past 4.
And he still has Eye for an Eye. So next turn he's just able to play Eye for an Eye.
Yeah, to
and
lock him out.
most likely just seal the deal if the hit this turn doesn't go face.
Yeah.
If it goes face, then he just goes for Eye for an Eye and Forbidden Healing.
Right, right. Because you would need to heal to get outside it. You don't want to just randomly lose one of these games when you're so far ahead.
Or draw, right?
Yeah. How does Naiman... In his mind, he needs to either hit 2 Rag Shots face or 1 Rag Shot face and 2 War Axe charges. Is it time for, like... He's going Armorsmith Brawl, yeah. If he wins this Brawl, he... really close to just winning the game. Then all he needs is a War Axe charge. Okay. He can guarantee it to go face, setting up for his next War Axe, or his next Rag Shot to win.
It's one of the ways he can win, but still, PF has a way of healing himself back.
Yeah. So, with the Consecrates, PF can set up for lethal next turn by Eye for an Eyeing. All he needs to get is the 3 damage from the weapon swing from Naiman, and that's fine. So Eye for an Eye and Forbidden Healing this turn. And then next turn he can swing Ashbringer and use Consecrate to close out the game. Even if Naiman only inflicts 1 damage to break the Eye for an Eye, he has double Consecrate plus the Ashbringer swing for the 9. So I think you always play Eye for an Eye here.
I love the fact that we are seeing Eye for an Eye in tournaments.
It's pretty cool.
With Hydrologist is just such a cool way of finishing up the game, especially against freeze mages, right? It's one of the ways of actually winning.
Yeah, Hydrologist is one of my favorite cards. It just allows you to play the game in so many different ways, and the RNG from it is fairly predictable. It's not like super random because there's so few amount of secrets, but actually, one of the interesting things, though, if you go to like some of the stat tracking websites, one of the lower win rate cards when played is Hydrologist.
Oh, really?
And if you like look at standard Murloc Paladin builds, they say that's one of the worst Murlocs. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's a card that a lot of people never think about cutting that might actually be right to cut in some circumstances.
Well, it's not that hasty when it comes to closing out the games, right? It helps you a little bit.
It costs so much mana investment because it's a 3-mana 2/2 a lot of the time. So that's where it can run into trouble. But Wild Pyromancer, Consecrate, clears the board, and then Ashbringer connects to the face to close it out. It's going to be 3-3.
If PF sees it.
Hey, he sees it.
He has to, right?
Yeah. I think.
He might be tunneled vision.
He's thinking about this Sunkeeper Terram, isn't he?
I think so.
He's lost. PF, come back to us.
It's a long match.
It's a long game, yeah. Well, he's got another long one after this. He's got to win a Taunt Warrior Mirror. But he has cut the War Axes from his deck, so his lineup and how it's coming together makes him favored going into the last game.
I thought he saw it.
He almost saw it. Right, this works, right? Wild Pyromancer plus Consecrate, 2, AoE for 1, 2,
Yes.
AoE for 1.
Yes.
swing the face. The rope is burning. He's just making it exciting is what he's doing, right?
Is he?
No, he didn't see it. He's missing the lethal here.
Well, to be fair, there's almost no way he loses this.
Are you sure? There's plenty of ways he loses from this position.
Wait, brawl into Acolyte Living means game.
Or some sort of like whirlwind effect into execute into... Okay. How does Naiman win? If Naiman can hit the 3-7, then he can trade off the Acolyte and play out a 4-6 taunt. And in his mind, that would keep him alive. It would present the same lethal from PF. I think PF has spotted the lethal. He just made a funny face.
Wanted to make a joke, but
he figured it out. He figured it out.
But he still has the second Pyromancer.
He still has it.
Ah, yeah.
He knows. He's like, ah, jeez. That's embarrassing.
Fortunately for him, he was ahead.
Yeah.
So it might not bite him back.
Yeah. That's not going to do it.
Yeah, now he's going to snap play it, right?
Oh, yeah. He sees it this time. Even if he doesn't see it this time, one Consecrate's good enough. Like, minions on board just trade.
Naiman will be a little bit surprised, I guess.
Yeah, he's going to play the second Consecrate to let us know that he knew that it was lethal. Oh, no, he's not.
No. He's not going to embarrass himself in eyes of Naiman, you know?
Right, yeah. Naiman doesn't know that PF missed the lead.
All right, we have a match. 3-3. And the final point will come down to a mirror match between Taunt Warriors, but they're quite different. As you said multiple times during this...
the big difference, the huge key tech choice. PF took one of the most core and essential cards to Warrior, the Fiery War Axe, and he cut both of them. And that actually gives him an advantage in this matchup. Yeah, I think it helps him a ton not to have it in this matchup.
It's beneficial a lot. And the mirror match is like super important.
Yeah.
It will matter hugely for finishing up the quest as soon as possible. It's still like a... I made the comparison earlier. I don't know if it's accurate, but I think like in most matchups, Tall Creeper is just like a passive War Axe because it has the same stats on the attack, but you can designate the attack where it goes.
Right. Dirty Rat's huge too. Naiman having the Dirty Rats can pull out taunts from PF, making it so they don't get value. If you Dirty Rat out a Stonehill Defender, that's just like game-breakingly powerful in this matchup.
Or even Hatchling.
Yeah. There's any taunt so it doesn't help your opponent complete the quest.
Do you even keep Harrison Jones? I don't think so.
I don't think you would keep Harrison Jones. War Axe is not one of the cards that Naiman is looking for. And if he has it, a lot of the time, you swing with it on 2, you swing with it on 3.
Wow, he kept it.
Yeah, maybe it's able to connect. He thought about it for a really long time. He was roping out that mulligan, trying to decide if it's worth keeping or not.
He's just playing around Dirty Rat.
Okay, it does play around Dirty Rat as well. That's some marginal upside to it. And Dirty Rat comes down.
You think so? Already on turn 2?
Yeah, you played on turn 2 trying to hit Stonehill Defender.
Ah! Look at that!
Yeah.
Beneficial for PF. It's like, oh yeah, I planned this.
Yeah, that actually worked out very well for him. Because when you see your opponent keep cards in the Taunt Warrior mirror, they almost are always keeping Stonehill Defender. So playing Dirty Rat on 2, trying to pull that out, if you hit it, it's so big, because that removes 2 taunts from their hand, not just 1. But yeah, PF takes the curve with his taunt minions, just wants to play as many taunts as possible, as fast as possible.
Naiman drawing those 2 Fury War Axes.
It's just...
that we'll never see from PF.
Yeah. It's not a taunt minion. It doesn't help you complete the quest. It's so bad. That's hilarious. It's so funny that he draws both of them when PF runs none, too. It's just that really rubs the tech choices in your face. Which I don't know if you call Fiery War Axe a tech choice or not, but...
Flex choice.
The PF calls it a tech choice.
That's pretty sick. I mean, we still have to see those Star Creepers to be drawn.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But he's so much further ahead on the quest. He's got 2 taunts. Naiman's only got 1 taunt. Naiman has 1 taunt in his hand. PF has 2 taunts in his hand. So how does Naiman get ahead and complete the quest? You may even just tempo execute here. Swing at the 2/6, equip another War Axe, so that if you top deck one of your 5-drop taunts, you can play that while clearing your opponent's board.
Okay.
It's like a really heavy tempo matchup, so trying to get ahead like that seems to be smart.
But it's awkward. Like, especially on turn 4, like you can't plan ahead with the Primordial Drake yet.
You're really relying on top decking a 5-drop taunt, but it's your most populated mana slot in the deck, so you have a pretty high chance of being able to do it.
For PF is straight out basic plays.
Oh yeah, just drop the taunt, go
right.
face. Yeah, every time. Piece of cake. He doesn't have these fiery War Axes clogging up his hand. He doesn't have to worry about that.
Alright, first Stonehill Defender for Naiman.
Okay.
That's the 3rd time we see a Sword as one of the options.
Yeah, but you don't want that because you can't hero power with it. It's so slow. You probably take Alley Armorsmith. I could see Twilight Geomancer, but you could just play out the regular Armorsmith this turn, and then Alley Armorsmith the following turn.
Yeah, I like the Alley Armorsmith. It's also important to just get that taunt before you play the Primordial Drake, and that fits the next turn. He's on 2 points, right?
I think he's on 2, yeah.
Now with 3 with Stonehill Defender, I think. Dirty
You played
Rat?
Dirty Rat?
Something else?
Nope.
That's
Stonehill Defender, there's just 2, and now he's going to get the 3rd in
and
his
2
hand.
Fear War Axes, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he's only on 2 right now, and he's picking up a 3rd taunt. He has a 4th taunt in his hand, where PF has played Stonehill Defender, Stegadon, Direhorn Hatchling, and PF's already going to be on his 4th. So PF is 1 tick ahead of Naiman.
Oh my god, the Dirty Rat will be impactful as well. Although not this turn, I think. Because you would like to go for the Armorsmith.
Just the mana efficiency.
Yeah.
So 4 out of 7 for PF. Solid pickup. Naiman's kind of keeping up with him. Naiman also at 4 out of 7, but PF has the first action.
Now it just shows how difficult was that choice from the Stonehill Defender last turn. If he would have picked the Ali Armorsmith, he would have still behind 1 point.
Right.
While clogging his hand.
Yeah, and then Dirty Rat's more effective against him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really worked out taking the 1/4 there.
4/7, 4/7.
Yep.
So they are
tied on
that.
This is big. Oh, that's so good for PF. You would think it'd be good for Naiman because an 8-drop comes out of his hand, but the taunt being removed there is super painful. Yeah. Oh wow. Battle Rage can pull 2 cards here.
I just thought about it. Battle Rage when you play No Fear War Axes is pretty bad.
Oh yeah, you can't damage yourself ever. It's awful, yeah. It's a very questionable choice to play in a No Fiery War Axe deck, but he gets 2 out of it. It's still good in the mirror because you get these situations with high health minions. But yeah, he's really teching this warrior for the mirror. Like it's really questionable in some other matchups for sure.
We're gonna see in other matches how we'll pair up.
Yeah, how the warrior
with this
will
warrior.
Do. Yeah. Ugh.
But it's really weird. I can't remember the last time I saw a warrior without Fear War Axes. I think that was like the beginning of the game, and people
like,
just experimenting.
In Patron Warrior, back with
there
was 1 Fiery War Axe. Some people played 0 for a little while because the Death Bite, so you know, it went back and forth there. But with Death Bite gone, every deck has had 2 Fiery War Axes.
Yeah. But when you think about it, still in a deck that did run 2 Depth Bites, there was still a choice for the Fear War Axe because it was just so powerful early game, even when you play a synergetic deck like that.
It just shuts down like 2/3s. Like we saw this warrior deck lose to Galaka Crawler.
Yeah.
Galaka Crawler just hammered home for like 15 damage or something crazy.
All right, well, those 3 cards are not taunt minions at all.
What is the quest state at now? I think he's at 5, right?
At 4.
No, you just played the
right,
Dirty Rat to get to 5.
So that's 5, yeah.
So if he played the Drake this turn, he would have went to 6, and then if he top decks any taunt minion, he gets to activate the quest as long as it's not like Curator or second Drake. But he wants to just kind of clean up the board a little bit.
That's actually pretty smart. It doesn't give a lot of value for Naiman because he is attacking this turn a little bit.
And Naiman loses the ability to maybe Battle Rage.
I don't think he runs Battle Rage.
Okay. Like half the warriors do, half of them don't. Yeah, Naiman has a Battle Rage in his deck.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, he does. So he would have, you know, if PF decides to go for his quest completion aggressively, then Naiman could have drawn like 5 cards off Battle Rage or something crazy. So
and
shutting
be back
that
into
down,
the game.
Yeah, and be back into the game. So shutting that down, very strong.
Curator hero power, always decent.
Right, and then next turn you can complete the quest with Alley Armorsmith and then start chucking rag shots, or even Direhorn Matriarch.
And Naiman is in a really bad spot. Not a single taunt minion to help finish up the quest right now.
Yeah.
That second Primordial Drake that was bitten by the Dirty Rat.
Yeah, that if he had that, he could start making his way, but he's still, he needs 2 taunts, right? Or just 1?
Yeah, I think 2. Yeah.
2. Holy smokes. And he has, there's a 50-50 that PF just kills this Primordial Drake for free. He played Direhorn Matriarch to get the biggest minion out there. Play the Sulfurous, hero power. Worst case, he weapons it down.
Yep, and it's still fine.
Oh, yeah.
You're at 38.
Yeah. I don't really see...
Any
he wants to
other...
go with a Stonehill
okay.
Defender. This is a lower pressure play. You do not want to take a 9-drop because you want a hero power every time.
Yeah.
So you probably take Direhorn Hatchling because it's the most aggressively statted.
Okay, I was thinking about the Armorsmith, but I was like, almost no difference, to be honest.
Right. Oh, this is why he went with this play. He wants to increase the clock. He wants no RNG. He's taken that out of the way, trading Execute for the ability to connect 4 with the Curator.
It's actually pretty nice because it plays around Sleep with the Fishes, plays around Executes, plays around double ghouls.
Right, which
ghouls
is what's
ruin,
probably in
and so on.
Naiman's hand because he's not playing taunts. I like it. Solid play by PF there.
Still very awkward for Naiman. Like, even with that draw, like the 1 taunt, he's way behind.
Yeah, he still needs another taunt to complete the quest. It's just brutal.
There's the Fear War Axe. To be honest, it's still better than Fear War Axe in this case. Because you just put another minion that might get attacked with the hero power from the Sulfurous weapon.
Sure.
I mean, when Naiman does complete it at some point.
Yeah, if he ever completes it.
Yeah.
So PF wants to play around Sleep with the Fishes here. So playing Primordial Drake seems really appealing because it clears the board and allows you to pave the way. But then Sleep with the Fishes kills your Curator and your Stonehill Defender. So he's trying to find alternative ways to do this. You may even just hero power first, right?
I would like the hero power first, yeah. Because then you just develop a 5-drop and maybe Acolyte of Pain.
He's gonna
Probably
go
not.
Primordial Drake. This pushes the most damage, but it makes your board a little bit vulnerable to Sleep with the Fishes, which has a high potential to be in Naiman's hand. But
4 Hunter hero powers. Click.
yeah, 1 button. Gonna have to go with the Brawl to try and stay alive. Fishes does not remove enough pressure. That's going to be lethal.
That's lethal, and PF takes the entire match.
Yeah.
Something that we did talk about before.
We didn't think it was going to be
favored.
this close, though.
Yeah.
Naiman definitely fought valiantly. He clawed his way all the way to the end and got it all the way to an exciting Game 7. But the tech, that's the big story, right? No Fiery War Axes wins you the mirror.
Wins the mirror, but although it did lose.
It lost the Priest game.
The Priest game, yeah.
Right.
Something that we talked about was the fact that the Freeze Mage and Priest will have a hard time winning the games, and they had actually like the
Oh, yeah, they just breezed through. They got the right matchups,
Easiest
though.
matchups, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Naiman getting that priest into the warrior gave him a huge chance because of how much he could punish the no fiery war X's. And then the freeze mage against the shaman had to be the most favorable matchup for the freeze mage out of the lineup. So a long one, yeah?
Yeah, that was a long one. I think
Yeah.
I think it was actually 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was game 7 of a best of 7, and PF takes the first match in StarLadder finals here in Kiev, and that means he will be waiting for another player from the second
Right.
pair,
He
which will
plays
be-
against the winner of, I think it's Zalea and Stansifka,
Yes.
which is the match we have coming up next. Should be an exciting one.
should be a long one as well.
It should be a long one. Well, it's a lot of players bringing control to this metagame, right? So it's kind of like the North American preliminaries went, with all of the control mirrors and slow control-y decks, lots of Taunt Warrior being seen.
Do you remember the DreamHack? I think that was DreamHack Stockholm when we played till 6 a.m.
Okay, last DreamHack winner?
No, that was 2014. I think.
2014. I don't remember that far. So many events between
No,
then.
15.
15, okay.
15. But it was
Oh, yeah, we were playing during the after party. I remember that. It was, was it Tyson Calento, I think?
and Reynard was actually playing in it as well because that was the European Championship.
Ah, okay.
But
yeah,
then
yeah.
players from NA could have played in EU as well. It was really weird.
Yeah, there's some crazy long events happening, and this was going to be no exception to that. Lots of control decks, lots of crazy, trying to out-greed, long outplay matchups.
Yep, that's what we're gonna see. But
Gilstone.
that's it for the first game. Now we're gonna jump to, I think, the winner's interview, or just gonna come to a short break. But don't go
We'll
anywhere,
find
guys.
out.
We'll find out in a second.